12th meeting of the Fitchburg City Council as a whole committee. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by standing and stating their name and city of residence. At this time, I ask that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. Councillor Boschman, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
In honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councillor Boschman.
Present.
Councillor Kuchar.
Here.
Councillor Cragen.
Here.
Councillor Cruz.
Here.
Councillor Di Natale.
Here.
Councillor Fleming.
Here.
Councillor Green. Councillor Schultz. Councillor Van Hazinga. Councillor Walsh.
Here.
And President Zarella.
Here.
Okay, so we have 8 members present. Did I do the math? Yep. Perfect.
Thank you very much. We have no one logged in remotely for public comment. If there is anyone in the audience wishing to make public comment, please approach the center podium, identify yourself by name and city of residence and the agenda item on which you wish to speak, and you will be given not more than 2 minutes.
Jacqueline Wetchy, Fitchburg resident. At your last budget meeting, which lasted over 4 hours, you passed less than $100,000 in cuts. When 107-24 was discussed, some of you told the Parks Director, oh, no problem, we can cut $164,000 from the budget for you, and you haven't even come up with that amount, never mind anything for additional reserves for emergencies, road paving, or lowering the tax levy to provide some relief to beleaguered residents. There's no time like the present to pick up the pace and cut, cut, cut. I especially urge you to support Councillor Boschman's proposed cut to the building commissioner's salary. Someone who only wants to come to Fitchburg 1 or 2 days a week should not be collecting a full-time salary. It is an insult to all the hardworking employees of the city, some battling medical issues, who for years have gotten up every day and come to work to let a newcomer to a position claim special privileges. We don't need anyone with this type of entitlement mentality in our city government, period.
Anyone else for public comment? All right. Before we begin, I do have a few announcements. One general public announcement. I'm going to break my policy slightly. I said no announcements for these cut meetings, but this is an event that will be happening the day of our next regularly scheduled meeting, so I can't announce it then. The volunteers are seeking to assemble an ad hoc friends group to support Fitchburg's historic Forest Hill Cemetery and its unique Forest Hill Abbey Mausoleum. This will be at the Fitchburg Historical Society, 781 Main Street, on Tuesday, June 18th, 11 a.m. to noon. All are invited. You do not have to live in Fitchburg, and you can RSVP to Friends of Forest Hill Fitchburg, all one word, at gmail.com. Additionally, I would like to note Councillor Schultz is unable to attend tonight's meeting as he is recovering from skin cancer surgery this afternoon. Councillor Schultz has asked me to convey his apologies to the council and the public, and also to urge all members of the public to be diligent in using sunscreen so that you don't wind up in the situation that he is in. Additionally, I've been asked to convey to primarily the council, but also the public, that Susan Davis will be unable to be with us this evening as she has a family emergency that she is attending to. I won't give any further detail on that because it's not my detail to give, but I don't want anyone to mistakenly believe that she is absent without good cause. That said, we will return immediately to our roster of cuts in hopes of making this our final budget meeting. I would ask that the council, if there is no objection, allow me to take a couple items out of order again, just in the interest of efficiency. First, I would like to bring up Councillor Boschman's proposed cut of $40,000 from the Johnny Appleseed Center, in that we have individuals here to defend their cuts who are not city employees, and it would seem unfair to make them wait through the entire meeting to defend their cut. So, Councillor Boschman, if you would like to begin.
I would be more than happy to let them explain why I shouldn't cut their $40,000.
Councillor Boschman, the onus is first on you to explain to the council and the public why we should cut the $40,000.
Okay, I'll do that, Mr. President, just for you. I'm cutting that $40,000. I believe $10,000 this year is pretty good. We're in a tight year. We're supposed to be in a tight year even more next year, and the year after that it's supposed to be really tight again. So I get told by numerous residents, why are we giving money away when we're having a hard time making ends meet? I'm trying to get back to kitchen sink. I don't see any improvement in advertisement. I know Great Wolf advertises. I see it on TV, and they don't mention nothing about Johnny Appleseed. They do it for themselves, and they say, come to Great Wolf, North Central Massachusetts. Nothing about Fitchburg. I believe that I know the man over there back in the room is going to tell me, you don't understand. We got a study done. The credit card, they come down here, they're from different part of the state, and they shop in Fitchburg. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I shop too in different towns, and I go to Leominster sometime. I go to towns and I buy dog food. Doesn't mean I'm visiting. I go there because that's where they get that kind of dog food. So I buy my dog food from there. It's not that I'm visiting and I'm not tourism Townsend. I'm just letting you know what I do. I go to eat in different restaurants throughout the city and even surrounding communities. So this is why I feel that I still gave them $10,000 so they can do advertisement. Really good. I believe that for years, even when Fitchburg was struggling, our next door neighbors were only giving $25,000 to $35,000, and we always gave $50,000. As bad as the city was going, we were still giving $50,000. I believe that if we're going to cut, we might as well start this year. We can put the money aside, $40,000 this year, maybe $40,000 next year, and $40,000 the year after that, when things start turning around, and then we can help them out. Be more than happy to help them out then. But right now, we're tight, and I want to buy some Dawn so we can clean in my dishes in the city of Fitchburg. So, you know, we gave away the kitchen sink, so I'm just saying that. Oh, you can get them up here if you want.
And with that colorful metaphor, if either of you would like to come up and address the council on this subject, you're more than welcome.
So, thank you, Mr. Council President. I appreciate you taking us out of order, and wasn't expected, but very much appreciated. So good evening. Thank you, councilors and mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today on this important economic development issue. First of all, for the record, my name is Roy Nascimento, President and CEO of the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce. I know many of you we've worked with, and you're familiar with the work that we do and our organization, but we view ourselves as a connector, facilitator, and a strong partner to Fitchburg and the other communities here in North Central Massachusetts. And we've done a lot really around to champion the city and to champion the region, including providing loans to startup businesses, $1.5 million last year, a lot of businesses including here in Fitchburg. We've provided over 2,500 hours of direct technical assistance to businesses, providing grants to local businesses, over $100,000 last year in grants to small businesses in Fitchburg through our economic development arm. Deeply engaged in the schools, encouraging career exploration, partnering on career fairs, job fairs. and giving out scholarships. We've given out over $50,000 in scholarships each year, including to students here in Fitchburg. We've contributed several welcome signs at several gateways in the city. We've worked with many of you to advocate for the city and for the region with state leaders. We've contributed funds to the city's facade program so we can provide facades to grants to small businesses in the community, helping beautify our city and encouraging neighborhood revitalization and economic development. Provided funding to help with pop-up shops, organized manufacturing tours, familiarization tours. We're located in Fitchburg, contribute taxes. We employ Fitchburg residents, and they, of course, pay taxes. And our staff, our members are also very engaged in the community in a number of ways. With me today, I should mention, is Diane Burnett, who is the manager of our visitor center, who works on our tourism side, and she's a resident of Fitchburg and very engaged in the community. Many of you will remember that she chaired Civics Days for a long time. And Travis Condon, our public affairs manager, is here, and he's been very engaged in the community, emceeing Veterans Day, the parade, and many of our team are involved in various charitable organizations and nonprofits here in the community. So we and our members are really big partners and champions for the city. We're not just talk, but our actions show that we care about this community and its residents. But I'm not here today to talk about the chamber. I really want to talk about what the council brought up, and that's the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association. And the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association is a separate entity. It's a separate legal entity. It's our tourism arm, has a separate board of directors, separate 501c3 organization that was really established over 35 years ago around promoting Fitchburg and the other 26 communities here in the region. At the time, the economy was in really tough shape, and we were looking at diversifying the economy. And there was a recognition that this is a way that we can diversify our economy by attracting visitors with a little jingle in their pocket, coming out here to our communities, spending money, visiting our attractions, going to our local restaurants, visiting our retail shops, staying at our local hotels, going and getting gas in their cars at a local gas station. All of that has an economic impact, and it's evidenced by all the data that we have that this has been successful, driving our economy here in the region. It's become a priority. It's part of our economic development plan, prioritizing tourism as a way to continue to grow our region. I know it's an important part of the city's efforts to really grow arts and culture, and it's hard to do that when you can't market the community and market the region. And we're marketing, and we are doing advertising, Counselor. It's not here locally. There's a definition for visitors, and it's those outside of a 50-mile radius. So those are the ones that we're trying to advertise and bring in here. Those are visitors. And so those are the ones that we're advertising. Our target markets are the New England states. Boston, 25% of our visitors come from greater Boston, here to north central Massachusetts, and we track that. So I would encourage you not to vote for the cut and maintain the funding for the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association. I have 5 points that I want to just bring to your attention. Point number 1, you've heard me use this analogy before, the analogy of the three-legged stool. JADA is fundamentally a partnership. It operates as a partnership and is funded by a combination of state tourism grants, contributions from our local communities that benefit, that collect their own rooms tax revenue and want to see that rooms tax revenue grow, like Fitchburg, and the business sector, the business community. They contribute as well. So that's where our funding comes from. The 3 legs of the stool represent the 3 sources of funding: state, local, and business. We need all 3 to make this work. If one leg is missing, then the stool falls over. And this funding is really critical. By state law, the funding that we get from the Massachusetts Tourism Fund, those are competitive grants. We need to match those dollar for dollar. So these funds that we get from our local communities, from our businesses, we are able to leverage that for these state grants. So that hurts us. If we get cut, we have an impact there. And then we're also able, we have more flexibility with these local dollars. Those state dollars are not very flexible. They're very restricted. We can't use them for things like our visitor centers. We can't use a single penny from those dollars for the visitor center. But our local contributions from local communities, we can. We can only use 20% of those state dollars for staffing. Like any organization, that's one of our biggest expenses is staffing. So this flexibility allows us to use that. And if this gets cut, then that impacts our visitor center, and that impacts our ability to staff. Point number 2, JADA delivers results and a strong return on investment. All the data, all the metrics that you look at, all show that this is working. I have some data here that's from the state. According to the state, direct visitor spending for calendar year 2022, that's the last year that we have data available for. We'll get calendar year 2023 later this year in the fall. But for calendar year 2022, there was an estimated $196.6 million in visitor spending. That's direct visitor spending. Doesn't even include indirect spending. So those businesses involved in tourism, they're also spending money locally. So that has an impact as well. In calendar year 04, that was $14 million. So we've gone from $14 million to almost $200 million in those years. And that, again, is just direct. And we had 286 jobs. Now it's over 1,000 jobs that are directly related to tourism. Our own research indicates that about 16,000 jobs are related to that benefit from tourism here in the region. So we feel those numbers from the state are a little bit conservative. And then in calendar year 2022, tourism also generated $6.3 million in tax revenue for the communities in north central Massachusetts. And there's a strong return on investment for Fitchburg. Fitchburg is by far the biggest beneficiary of these efforts around regional marketing and bringing visitors in here, has the most to lose. Direct visitor spending from tourism in Fitchburg was over $46 million in calendar year 2019. That was a record for us. That's pre-pandemic. Then we took a nosedive because of the pandemic. Obviously, people weren't traveling. But in calendar year 2022, we actually exceeded. We finally, not only we exceeded pre-pandemic, we were at $55 million in Fitchburg and over 300 jobs that are directly attributed to tourism. And that visitor spending, according to the state, also generated $1.8 million in tax revenue for the city of Fitchburg, also pretty good growth. And I know that the rooms tax revenue alone is on track to exceed over $1 million this year and will increase next year due to the rooms tax increase that was passed by the council. The city's evolved into the biggest destination in the region, has some really incredible destinations, has Great Wolf, but also has Hollis Hills Farm, has Game On, has a lot of small businesses that are becoming destinations, including restaurants here in the downtown that are drawing more visitors here into the area. We, of course, have the university that brings in visitors as well. Point number 3, tourism is highly competitive. You've heard me say this again. Attracting visitors doesn't just happen. A lot of effort, a lot of work goes into our by our organization goes into this, as well as from our members and businesses, really trying to attract more visitors here to the region. And there are many other states, regions, and communities that are hungry for those dollars derived from visitors, and they want those jobs, they want the tax revenue, they want the investment. And there's an old saying: if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Cutting funding will impact our ability as a community and a region to compete. It will reduce our ability to promote and market ourselves as a great region to visit. And you will see our market share decrease, and you will see a gradual reduction in tax revenue and visitor spending at local businesses. Point number 4. Fitchburg's contribution to the partnership has been level funded for going on 10 years now, nearly 10 years, not quite. While inflation, as you know, has gone up over 30%, and likewise, our expenses have gone up significantly as a result of inflation. We've been advocating for an increase in funding with the mayor's office, especially with the increase in the rooms tax rate, the local option rooms tax rate that was passed by the council and the mayor, and it gets harder and harder each year for us to do our work with flat revenues. We were lucky enough coming out of the pandemic to get a few federal dollars that were able to make up the difference and support our visitor industry and our efforts. But though, as you know, those dollars from the federal government have dried up. And in fact, this year we are on track to take a loss. It's hard enough to make those numbers work, never mind a cut, which will make it even more challenging to do the work that we do. And then point number 5, we certainly recognize that there's no shortage of need. You have really some tough decisions every year to make. There's no shortage of needs, and taxes are needed to help deliver the good services that residents expect and need. But this cut is counterintuitive and really not well thought out. It is not a lot in the overall makeup of the larger budget, but it's certainly a lot of money to JADA and to our collective efforts to work with our communities to promote North Central Massachusetts and get more visitors and their dollars here. Cutting it will not make any difference in this budget or reduce future deficits. It will put JADA at risk. It will put Fitchburg's future rooms tax collections at risk. The city has been trying to reinvent itself as a destination, and I think has achieved some success, we believe. And tourism has been identified as a target industry by the city, by us, by our state. This is an investment that brings revenue to the city, helps our residents, gives them some relief on their taxes, helps our businesses in our community. And this cut will put that strategy at risk and really put everything at risk. So we encourage you to vote no on this cut. I really appreciate your time and attention on this very important economic development issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Green.
Yes, hi, good evening, and thank you for being here. I want to commend the efforts of not only the Johnny Appleseed Center, but the Chamber of Commerce as well. For the years that I've sat on council, I've always been a cheerleader for the Johnny Appleseed Plaza Visitor Center and the Chamber of Commerce. So I see the return on investment. I see the businesses that are benefiting. I see the relief to the residents that benefit from the work that you do, so that I don't have to personally do the work, promoting all the businesses that you promote. And again, applause and hands off to Diane, who always puts together the great visitor guide. That is a go-to for my residents. We drop a stack off at the senior center, up at Wallace Towers, at our housing, Fitchburg Housing, because those are residents that look forward to knowing what events are happening, and I appreciate the work that goes into that. So the fact that that our city of Fitchburg benefits directly from the work that you do, not only at the chamber, but at the Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center, I would never think about taking money away from that. I've told you for years that I wish that we could double and triple that for you, based on how we benefit from that. And there are some who don't see the direct benefit of that. I'm a counselor that recognizes the direct benefit of that. So I will never support cutting that budget. So I just want to commend the good work that you're doing. I'm sad to see Diane retire.
So
I understand, she loves to travel and loves her grandchildren, so I commend that. But it's been a nice ride. You've always served the city well. And I will support always more funding for your efforts. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. That means a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that in every business, marketing is a huge thing that you have to do. If nobody knows that we're here and what we have to offer, they're not going to come here. So what you do makes them aware of all of the things that we've been doing, and making people want to come here. And to cut this, I think this is money well spent. It brings in additional dollars, and I think that cutting this is short-sighted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cregan.
Absolutely. I'm always really happy to have our friends from the Chamber, Travis and Roy. Thank you for speaking. On behalf of what you do and updating us on the statistics, the rise to 196 million really took me aback, but I see the evidence of it. I talk to lots of families because I am directly involved with all different kinds of events, things having to do with tourists, and regionally as well. I see those dollars. I see the joy that people have. This morning at Footsteps to Brilliance, which is a writing contest the English language learner children for 2nd and 5th grade do over at Rheingold School. A lot of children said they loved Fitchburg because we have a water park, and we have water parks too, James. But, they're taking these families in our schools like to do things that we have here. And other people come here, and this is what makes this city great and has made this city an attraction for almost, over 200 years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Mr. Nascimento, for coming in. I don't think I can advocate any better for the Chamber than you just did, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
But I just want to add that, the Chamber really is a almost quasi-extension of our economic development here in the city and community development. And it's been a wonderful partner for the city, so I can't support this cut. Unfortunately, the gentleman from Ward 2 will be disappointed, but I can't support it. I yield the floor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Fleming.
I don't support this cut either. Every year, this counselor tries to cut this, and it never gets approved. I think he's hoping for a windfall one year.
Thank you.
I'll just note a couple points. One is just, yes, this is obviously, we all know we've sat through the now going on, 12 plus hours of meetings. We know this is a tight budget year. But we need to remember, we've been told again and again that this is a tight budget year because we have structural deficits, because our revenues are not high enough to meet our expenses. There is no way we dig ourselves out of this hole by backing down on economic development. We need to ramp up our economic development. We need to get more businesses, more tourists, more shoppers, more patrons into the city of Fitchburg in order that eventually we won't be having this same discussion a few years down the road. And yes, as I say every year, because the same point is made every year, and it's true, we pay more towards this initiative than Leominster does. And I'll say it every year. That's Leominster's mistake. That's not our mistake. It's not that we're paying twice as much as we should. It's that Leominster's paying half as much as they should. But ultimately, I think like with everything in this budget, it comes down to numbers. So what I want to just put out there as a rhetorical question for everyone to ponder, Mr. Nascimento, you said Fitchburg took in, what was it, $1.8 million in tax revenue from tourism in the past year, or the?
That was calendar year 2022.
Okay.
That was from the state.
And 1.8 million.
That included rooms tax revenue as well as other miscellaneous taxes that they said it was from tourism.
And so obviously it's never going to be possible to conclusively determine what percentage of that is directly attributable to the advertising efforts of the chamber. You can't track that tightly. However, we contribute $50,000 to this initiative. We raked in $1.8 million in tax revenues in calendar year 2022. I want everyone to ask yourselves, do you think it is plausible that at least 2.8% of our tourism in the city of Fitchburg can be attributed to the chamber? I think it very much can. I think a lot more than that can probably be attributed to the efforts of the chamber. But if you think that at least 2.8% of our tourism in the city of Fitchburg can be attributed to the chamber's efforts and to the Johnny Appleseed Center, then this line item has paid for itself already, because $50,000 is approximately 2.8%. It's 2.7 repeating of 1.8 million. So unless you think that the chamber is making less than a 2.8% difference, this is a no-brainer. And I'll rest my case there. Councillor Brochman.
Question for you. Am I correct? Leominster gives $35,000?
You're incorrect. The last 2 years, they've given 60.
What?
Incorrect. Last 2 years, they've given us 60.
Last 2 years, they gave 60?
Correct.
And when I talked to the mayor in Leominster, he told me $35,000.
No, it was 60.
60?
Yep.
So you lied to me.
35 from the general fund. Maybe that's what he's referring to. And then he also had some other money, some federal money that he gave us to bump us up to 60.
What, it was federal money? It
Yes.
wasn't, okay, federal money. Let me ask you a question.
But it was 60 altogether
Does
for
the
the
town
Johnny
of
Appleseed
Westminster
Chalices.
give?
I think they give us 10.
10.
Yeah.
Does the town of Gardner give?
I want to say it's 15.
They give 15. When did they change? Because I've been on here 10 years, and they weren't giving nothing, Gardner, Massachusetts.
I don't know, about 6, 7, 8 years ago, they started contributing.
Now, since you came in with 1.8 million in tax revenue from Fitchburg, what does Leominster get for a tax revenue? You must have that comparison. And they get more hotels. We only get one hotel. We get Great Wolf. Great Wolf, and you saw it, you said to yourself, we're going to get over $1 million in revenue from Great Wolf because of room tax. So that tells me their advertising is doing great work when they're saying North Central Mass. And the North Central Mass is in comparison to everybody else. My argument with you is this. I'm not against tourism. I'm not against you. I'm not against anything. We're having a hard time to meet the budget. I know she gave us a balanced budget, but next year it's going to be worse. I'm going to face the residents, and they're going to come up to me, and they're going to tell each and every one of you, how can you give $50,000 away when I want to cut his revenue, and I want to cut her revenue, and I want to cut her revenue? How can we say that? And you want to give $50,000 away? Really, tell me that. I don't understand this logic.
Return on investment.
Really. You gave me a number, 1.8 million. I could draw you a number. I could tell you the state gave me this. I get no proof. He's got no. You just said it yourself, Counselor. You said it yourself. You really, they can't pinpoint where it's coming from. You know what I liked about you? What I get mad about, what I would like to have seen, if your group, the chamber, would have said to Fitchburg, because I read in an article many years ago, and you can ask Marcus, I used to argue this and Amy all the time, that you guys are looking for skilled labor. You need skilled labor, and you should have been advocating the city of Fitchburg to do something with the schools so they can produce more skilled labor.
Counselor, we're talking about the Johnny Appleseed program, not...
Oh, that's part of the Johnny Appleseed. It's helping. It would have been helping the program.
Counselor, we're not here to discuss how the chamber ought to run its business.
Mr. Council President, if I could respond to a couple of things the Councilor said. So, first of all, I think we talked about the contribution from Leominster, so we corrected that with contributions for the last 2 years. You mentioned that Leominster has more hotels and more rooms. That's not true. Actually, Fitchburg has the largest number of hotels at Great Wolf, hotel rooms, and collects the largest tax revenue per rooms. I don't have the numbers in front of me for tax collections for the city of Leominster, but I can tell you they're less. It's all public. You can go on the website for the state and see local option tax collections by community. And by far, Fitchburg is the biggest beneficiary and gets the most in terms of rooms tax revenue. And it's on track to be well over $1 million this year alone, and hopefully that will continue to grow. I think there were some other items you said, things about schools, like we're big advocates for the schools. We're deeply engaged in the schools. I mentioned earlier that we organize a big career fair, promote career exploration. I think our members are deeply committed with that next generation and supporting them and supporting work-based learning and career exploration. We have given scholarships every year, $50,000 in scholarships this year, traditional scholarship for $46,000 and a little over $5,000, I believe, in non-traditional scholarships to students continuing their education. And since we started that scholarship program, we've given out more than $1 million in scholarships, all supported by the business community, all going to students here in the region, not just Fitchburg, but I can tell you that Fitchburg has benefited from this. Students from Fitchburg have gone on to college thanks to those scholarships and helping to support them. So I think I addressed some of the items that you talked about there: schools, rooms, tax collections. Did I miss anything?
No, that's different now. Okay. The other thing I want to point out, you got me on a roll. You know, we talked about Great Wolf. We talked about Game On. Game On brings in their own sports and tourism because they have tournaments, just like Lancaster. Lancaster, if you go down to Route 117, bumper on the side of the road, cars parked everywhere. Am I right?
Yeah.
The chamber, they parked everywhere. They're from all over the state. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So that affects the tourism there because they come out to different parts of the cities, right? So and then you get Game On that does the exact same thing as Lancaster. We get the big tourism up here because they come in from all over the state. They have their tournaments. And if they have the basketball games up there, they bring them in. And when they have the wrestling and everything else, they bring them in. So they're really doing their own advertising too.
So I can tell you that youth amateur sports is a big market for us, so that we're getting a lot of visitors here to the region that are coming for these tournaments at Lancaster Fields, at Game On, at Devon's. They're a big host of a lot of tournaments as well. And we've talked, we have a developer that we've talked to, so there might be another sports-related business that will be opening up in the region. So sports of various forms are definitely bringing a lot of visitors into the area, and we're deeply engaged in that as well. So we do some sports marketing, really trying to focus in on those groups, trying to get more of those groups out here to host their events here, because they're coming a long way. If you've ever had kids that are playing in sports, you're trekking your kids, a long ways to play in these tournaments. And then afterwards, you're going to get ice cream at the local ice cream stand. You might stay overnight at the local hotel. Maybe you'll take them to Great Wolf. Maybe you'll take them somewhere else in the region. But all of that generates economic activity. Those are visitors that are coming to an area. It's one of our target markets under our marketing plan.
All right, I yield the floor.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Or rather, a motion to what? Give leave to withdraw? Or?
We have historically made a motion to approve and then vote it down or vote it. Yeah. That's what we've done typically in budget meetings.
Well, Counselor, would you like to make a motion to approve your cut?
I make the motion, we approve my cut. No, definitely.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second to approve the cut of $40,000 from the $50,000 line item for the Johnny Appleseed Center. All in favor?
Of the cut?
Of the cut.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
In opposition? All right, motion fails by a vote of 1 to 8.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the support.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call the council's attention to the items listed in the cut sheet as under the proposed by column. There are a number listed as cleanup.
Oh, yeah. There's two.
There's 5 in a group and then 1 further down the page on the second page of the cut sheet. I'd like to tackle those next because those are, if you recall, during the original budget presentation, we were told that there were certain line items that may have been miscalculated and that needed to be revisited. The finance team then went back over those line items and sent us all an email saying that they were in fact incorrect and gave us the correct numbers. These cut proposals, quote unquote, are simply bringing the line items in question into line with what the finance team said they were supposed to be in the first place. So these are clerical amendments.
Move to accept the cleanup amendment. Second.
I have a motion and second. Just for clarity's sake, this will affect local building inspector 1, local building inspector 2, plumbing inspector, wire inspector, building department longevity, and library custodian line items. Anyone on the motion? If there is no objection, we'll take these by unanimous consent. All right, seeing no objection, all those cuts, so-called, pass by unanimous consent. Next, we are back to page 2, page 1 of the cut sheet for Councillor Fleming's proposed cut of $60,657. That is to say the total amount for the parking control supervisor. Councillor Fleming, if you'd like to introduce your cut.
Yeah, I just think it's not a good idea to be spending more money in a department where we're losing money. And I just think one of these positions needs to be removed. So I proposed both positions in hopes that we could agree on one of the positions.
So Madam Treasurer?
I guess I just want to point out what these two people do during the day. They're not simply there to issue violations. There are quite a few other duties. First of all, they maintain the garages and the parking lots. That includes daily trash pickup and sweeping, and also removal of human waste at times. They plow, they shovel, and they sand the lots and the garages as necessary during the winter. Weed whacking and mowing during the summer months. They maintain the department vehicles. They maintain the parking meters, and they also empty them of the monies collected there. They assist with the monthly parking hearings. They schedule and assist with repairs and required inspections at the garages. They issue the permits for the garage and lot parking. They address customer concerns frequently if there's any problems with assigned spots or parking. And they also handle the city mail. They pick it up every morning. They postmark and deliver it to the post office every day. They also assist with large mailings. For instance, when the city clerk has to mail out ballots before an election. So they do all that. I think we need the two people to do these jobs. There's quite a lot to it.
Well, I agree we might need them, but if the expenditures are higher than the receipts, that's an issue. We're losing money. So it makes no sense to keep both those positions on.
Okay, well, that's fine. I understand what you're saying. I do. But there's just going to be a cut in services in there, cut in the maintenance and the tickets issued and I guess to everything. So.
But again, we're losing money in that department. So I stand firm.
Councilor James Holly?
The parking section has always been self-sustaining up until recently. Now we're starting to see it in the red. So it is logical to arrive at this not from a needs basis, but from a cost basis, in that parking has always been avoided for cuts because the receipts would cover those expenses. Now that they're not being covered fully, it is only logical for some of us, if not all of us, to question if it's sustainable, because while revenues may be declining in other areas, parking has always been in the budget its own island where the total was zero because the receipts matched the expenses. That's not the case anymore. No disrespect to the two people who do these jobs, but a lot of what you stated that they do has nothing to do with parking.
That is true, but it's part of their jobs.
So a parking control supervisor and a parking control officer in the job description is to weed whack?
Yes. They maintain the lots and the garages. That's part of their job.
How often were they doing that prior to all of the meters being shut down and other when we had a lot more meters out there and a lot more years ago, and I remember the two gentlemen that were doing the job years ago, they spent a lot of time on enforcement and receipts and ticketing and going to court or contesting. They didn't do a lot of the other stuff.
I don't think they went to court, but they...
I meant when there were contested fines, they had to do some work in that regard. But I guess what I'm saying is it sounds like with the receipts going down and the focus on parking being 2-hour free, 1 hour free, removal of meters, the enforcement aspect, the main crux of a parking control officer starts to decline, which then has them focus more on these other tasks. So is that not fair to say? It's not a criticism of them.
I can understand what you're saying, that there's there's fewer meters and there's fewer tickets, possibly to write. But I don't think that these other duties are any less or more than they used to be. At least as long as I've been here for the last 7 years.
So it's a tough situation because up until now we haven't had to bat an eye over it, but now that it's losing money, it's generated a lot of attention. And if the council wishes to proceed with a a system where we are now spending more on parking matters than taking in, then so be it. But that is, to my understanding, why these have been put forward all of a sudden. In the 17 years I've done this, I've never seen parking touched, nor should it have been, because it was self-sufficient. Now it no longer is. So I don't know if this is the appropriate avenue to have this discussion long-term, but it clearly needs to be something that maybe would warrant another meeting separately, in my opinion, if it doesn't pass, where we got to talk about the future of parking in this city, the future revenues, and the requirements for maintenance to understand truly what our labor needs are and what's going to have to give to subsidize it, because now it's being subsidized. It's not fully covered. And that's all.
I agree with a look at the entire
And maybe that was expected or planned or not surprising, considering all of the changes we have made, especially in the downtown with respect to parking receipts over the last 4 or 5 years. I actually was not surprised to see this. I just didn't know when it was going to actually be seen. I didn't know when that break point was going to be passed. We've passed that break point. So now it sticks out like a sore thumb when you look at the parking page that's always neutral, and now it no longer is. So, and to be fair and consistent to some of my colleagues, the same thing was done with, like, the airport, for example. The airport's been bashed to shreds every year because of the negative balance in there. I mean, parking is not an enterprise fund, but it's always been self-sufficient, so it's almost looked at like a pseudo one. So now that it no longer is self-sufficient, that's why this is coming up. So I haven't decided yet how I'm going to go with this, because I want to fully understand. I'm more inclined not to support it for now, because I want to get a better picture of what the future is entailing with respect to our parking needs in this city. Before I then say, get rid of this position, cut this position, I need to have a refresher on what the next 5 to 10 year plan is on our parking needs in downtown, because that's where the bulk of the receipts come from, the garages, the utilization of those garages. Because if you recall, and I'm sorry if I'm being long here, the former director of community development, Mr. Skorsky, was here. I remember that meeting very vividly. It was a lengthy meeting on, a big focus of it was parking and reformation of our parking system. And we've implemented some changes, not all, but there were a lot of things in the hopper that we were researching and studying that in some cases may lessen the need for personnel, because a lot of it more is automated, electronic. We haven't had a discussion since that time, and I want to say 3 years or so. So it's probably time for a refresher. So before, I understand where my colleagues are going. I think their heads are in the right place. For me, I think I'm not going to vote for these for now, because I want to see what the go-forward plan is here with respect to receipts, maintenance needs, and how the city is going to address it long-term than just cutting these two off right now. I can't, in good faith, make that decision without having another refresher on downtown parking, garages. What's the overall view going forward of where we want to go to better assess then our needs? That's how I'm going to approach this. So while I agree with their methodology and their line of thinking, I think we need to go a couple of steps further and do some more in-depth analysis as to what the future of parking in the city entails, what direction we want to go in, and then make the personnel decisions that are in alignment with that go-forward plan. Right now, I don't know what the plan is. I know what we were told a few years ago. I don't know what the status is, where we stand, the time frame, if we're moving forward with it, if we're not. So we need to have an in-depth refresher on parking. And the time is now, considering it's now in the red, we now have to sink our teeth and get focused on what we're going to do about this. Because it was always an afterthought until now. So that's my 2 cents.
Madam Mayor, I believe you would wish to weigh in on this.
Thank you, President Zarella. Yes, so just to add some clarity to this parking situation from, my point of view. we've been in discussions for a number of months on what we're going to do about the parking moving forward. We all recognize that it's not currently working in this format, especially since, as Councilor Di Natale, mentioned, since in 2021, when we, approved the expenditure of $45,000 from that TDI grant funding to do the license recognition, remove, meters, and ultimately, the goal was to improve parking and allow more people to use the downtown, and the result was, a lessened revenue for a self-supporting, theoretically, parking system. So I feel like we are, implementing half of the plan or a quarter of the plan that was originally proposed to us. We haven't had the opportunity to fully implement that plan. Whether or not we continue with that full plan as it was originally proposed to us or not, is yet to be determined. But I would urge the council to, instead of, as Councilor Di Natale mentioned, that just cutting the budget for this at this time is perhaps not the appropriate avenue, in that we can work together for a legislative and policy partnership with the City Council and the City of Fitchburg department heads and mayor and administration to work on a parking solution that works for all of us and that doesn't, result in unintended consequences that end up costing us more money and on the back end. And to that, I just want to add some context from Susan Davis, Human Resources. She notes that she does not feel that we have had sufficient time to determine if eliminating the control officer positions would actually save us any money. We would need to pay unemployment impact bargain with the union and potentially pay legal fees if we did not reach an agreement. Additionally, we do not know who would assume the existing duties as, Ann has mentioned, that, there are regular cleanup activities that occur. We have 2 parking garages with the associated permits and regulation and patrol of those. So this might, unintended consequence mean that, parking downtown is now impacted for the people that we are trying to encourage to attend downtown. And additionally, it might impact the patrol for FPD to take over those duties, and what would the impact be to our police department. So I would urge the council that this is not the right time, and to work with us with legislative and policy decisions to fix this and move forward with a comprehensive solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Green.
Yeah, and I don't want to assume, but are both of these positions full-time or part-time?
They're full-time.
So we have 2 full-time parking officers doing those duties at the tune of almost $100,000.
102.
But yet our expenses are almost double that. So is it stuff that isn't within control of what those 2 people are doing or their duties? Or like I'm looking at, I know we're not down to contracted services yet, but does any of that overlap into what they're doing under contracted services?
Well, the contracted services are, I have a list of them, so I might as well read it to you. It's different services that they need to perform the job. What did I do with it? Here it is. So it's going to cover the annual maintenance for the license plate recognition system, as well as the permitting fees. It covers the handheld devices they use to issue the tickets and the entering of the tickets into the deputy collector's database for collections. It's pest control. It's also required inspections for the elevator, the sprinkler systems, and the fire extinguishers. Those are the major things that it covers.
So the 2 full-time positions that we currently fund, would it be fair, in your opinion, to say that they could both bump down to part-time and complete the workload, or no?
My guess is no. I'd really love to do what Councilor Di Natale suggested and just take a look at the whole thing and really understand. I mean, I'm not out there on the street, so I don't know really if we could cut these positions down or not. My sense is that no, we couldn't. But if we took, a look at the whole function and, how it functions now and where we want it to go, I think that would be a better idea.
Bless you.
Thank you for that explanation. Thank you.
Councilor Brochman.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to support this. I think we're making a big mistake if we cut these two positions. I listened to my counselor to the right of me. We're all talking about doing stuff for free. We removed the parking meters on Main Street. Great job. When I drive up Main Street, sometimes I see cars there for 3 hours, 4 hours, no tickets. Over here, we lost the business on Pritchard Street. Cars parked in front, they had to move. On Pritchard Street, they had to move because there was no parking for the guy. Everybody was parking there. And that's the truth. And I think a lot of you know who it is. So, and we're going to cut that position. You're going to cut when somebody's going around and giving tickets. I'm going to be quite frank with you. Numerous times I have called her up to ask the guy to come up in my ward because there's cars parked on the sidewalk, brand new sidewalks, and she send them up. And I'll tell you something right now. It works because they don't park on the sidewalk any longer. So it works. So I'm not going to support it. I tell you, if you want to raise revenue, who heard the pay's going up, everything's going up, and we're allowing parking for 25 cents, or we give a parking ticket for $3, and you can park here as long as you want? Really? Who does that? Go to any other city. They don't do that. Everything's going up. So you want to know why revenues are not there, those salaries go up, but we don't raise the costs. We say, oh, no, we can park here for 25 cents. We can park here for 50 cents. Oh, if you want to go over there for 15 minutes, here, put a dime in there. It may take you 17 minutes, but put the dime in. So when a guy walks by, he's there, he's gone. And you're there for 15 minutes or 12 minutes. Really? Come on. That's why we don't have any money. We're not keeping up. I mean, pay goes up, but we don't go up. Really, think about it. Would you do it for free? I won't. I mean, and you give me the opportunity to park down there downtown, and I know I'm not going to get a ticket, I'll be there for quite a while, and I'm not going to lie about it. And I think everyone's going to be there for quite a while. So if you know there's somebody coming around with a ticket, you're going to move. If you know there's nobody coming around with a ticket, you're going to stay there because nobody likes to pay. And that's me. I get steep pockets and my short elbows. So I'm just telling you that. So that way I'm not going to do it. So I'm not supporting you, Melissa Fleming. I'm sorry about that. I think we're making a big mistake if we cut these positions. I think we really should think about it. The whole purpose is to have parking, give them parking, do their business, and move out, and let somebody else come and park there. That's how I feel about it. And you want to solve the problem? Raise the prices. And I don't like to say that. I know I'm going to be on Facebook tonight. Boschman wants to raise the prices. So anyway, let's raise the prices and make it fair, competitive. We're not charitable. This is why we have no money. We're giving everything away. Every time I turn around, everything's for free. I know, Counselor, you're off track.
Hey, do my job for me.
I yield the floor.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I found Councilor Di Natale's analysis and explanation compelling, and for that reason, I would withdraw my cut. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll hold off until my cut. I think it's coming up next, so it's all relative. So I'll wait for my cut is up. Thank you.
Okay. Before I go to people looking to speak for the second time, I'd like to make a few comments. The first being that I concur with Councilor Walsh. We both proposed the same cut, and I'm willing to hold off, to withdraw my cut and hold off but I want to be back here, preferably before the August break, but certainly in the fall if not, to take a long, hard look at this. A hard look at this with no third rails. I'm the last person who wants to see budget-related layoffs. I've been 100% on board. I'm very glad that the budget we've been presented with does not eliminate any filled positions for budgetary reasons. However, when the positions itself has its usefulness in question, as much as I don't want to see anyone lose their hours or lose their job, we've got to first and foremost look at the utility of the position. If the position isn't worth the money anymore, then it's just not, whether it's got a person in it or not. And I think we need to look at, out of the things that the current two individuals are doing, which things should be their job as parking control officers and supervisors, and which things should be someone else's job. Or if it should be their job, do we need to reorganize the department somewhat? If we're going to have this department now be budget negative, like most of the other departments, as opposed to budget neutral, then what benefit are we getting out of it? And is the cost commensurate with that benefit? Because if you think about it, I don't think the idea of charging more for parking so that we can pay for parking enforcement makes a lot of sense unless we can quantify the benefit of parking enforcement beyond revenue. For example, if we had a problem, which I know years back we did, but I believe as of the last parking study we did not, if we had a problem with not enough parking being available because people were taking up the spaces for too long, that's another reason to have at least some parking enforcement. And certainly it wouldn't be my intention to cut it entirely anyway. But if that's the benefit we're getting from it and we're paying money for it, we need to calibrate that. We need to decide how much parking circulation is critical to economic development downtown and pay for exactly that amount and no more. If that means that some people park overtime without getting a ticket because we've got people are only making the circuit half as often, well, as long as there isn't a problem with people finding parking, okay, so they got away with it. Okay, I don't think that's the biggest concern when we're talking about these kinds of dollars attached to, a revenue-losing prospect. But for the time being, I would agree that perhaps the budget is not the best vehicle to hash all of this out, and we can do that in a more comprehensive way going forward. Councillor Fleming.
Yes, to refresh my memory, what are the receipts?
I don't have them with me. Do you have that?
On a point of information, Councillor Gianatali.
Receipts through May are, I just had it right here. Receipts through May, $122,768.
Councillor Fleming, you still have the floor.
$123,000. Right.
$123,000. So we're already $20,000 in the hole, based on the salaries.
No.
No? Repeat?
You can yield to Councillor Gianatali if you want.
Based on the salaries.
Okay.
And the receipts.
I'm talking the whole department. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have your shot in a minute.
Go ahead. Yep.
Go ahead, Councillor Fleming.
So the receipts are $122,000.
Yes.
So how are we? They're $122,000, and we're paying $102,000 in salaries. Could I continue speaking with you?
I would rather that we take this one at a time rather than going back and forth across the room, but
I guess my point is there are still several meters that I have encountered that are not working. So if we have people out there taking care of that, and they're not being taken care of, what are they doing?
The meters are quite old, and we can't get replacement parts for them anymore, so they repair them as they can.
So could that be part of the reason why the receipts
Sure.
are not? I'll withdraw these and do what Councilor Di Natale has proposed. I do think, however, had they may have been sitting on as a councilor, she would be proposing the exact same cuts. So, thank you.
I second the motion to withdraw.
All right, if there is no objection, would that include your cut as well, Councilor Cruz?
No, I'd like to talk about my cut.
Okay. If there is no objection, then the cut proposals of Councilor Fleming for $60,657 to the parking control supervisor, Councilor Fleming $41,967 parking control officer, and Councilors Walsh and myself for $21,000 to the parking control officer will be withdrawn. No objections?
No objection.
All right. Councilor Cruz proposing a cut of $41,967 to the position of parking control officer.
Mr. President, could we bundle this with my next cut of parking contract services, $35,000? If no one has any objections.
Does anybody object to taking up Councilor Cruz's cut of $35,000 to parking contract services simultaneously with this cut? All right, go ahead, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, we can bundle those because I will withdraw my motion. Doesn't sound like it's going to pass either way, but I do want to weigh into the previous conversation, which is why I had initially passed. I was going to wait for my cuts. You know, I think it's a fair argument that this is a department and that needs a reassessing, like Councilor Di Natale had mentioned, not only for the reasons he had mentioned, but also because I think we need to get this particular department up to speed with the current landscape, technology-wise, app-wise. That was my initial cut, was to bring this really into the 21st century. And we also need to discuss whether or not, and we have Director Murphy here, if this falls into the purview of 40U, which we're in the process of adopting. It does not. Okay, thank you. But it just speaks to that we need to really have a larger conversation. And Treasurer Fontes, this is by no means a critique of the job that you're doing or anything like that, or the job that the parking supervisor is doing or the officer. It's really just more of needing to take a good hard look at the organization, the structure, and how we are going about parking as a whole, as the gentleman from Mount Elam Road had said. And by no means is this department the only one that needs to take a look at sort of, you know, what is being done in these departments and whether or not that falls in the purview of their actual job description. I think that we really need to have a much larger conversation in many other departments as well. And I hope to see those conversations happening quickly, more quickly than government tends to take, which is why I really appreciate these chances we do get to not be out of order to talk about these things. But I will withdraw my motions to cut from the parking department. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Kuchar, before I address that withdrawal,
just very, very, very briefly, Councilor Cruz made up an excellent point. As an attorney, I have to go to multiple different cities throughout the Commonwealth, and there are no change meters anymore. You know, there are apps, as Councilor Cruz suggested. There's also kiosks that are most of the larger cities employ, where you can just put in where your car is and pay it from wherever you are. But obviously, you know, this isn't a conversation to have during the budget meeting, but it is a conversation that we should have going forward. So,
Councilor Cruz, something to add?
Very briefly, and it goes with saying as well, determining where certain departments' responsibilities are and where they should fall. I'm not so sure parking should be under the jurisdiction of the treasurer, just from an organizational standpoint. And can this be outsourced? Can this be, something that we have a private company do? Not to start a big spitfire about private companies and their jobs, but I won't go on. I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Di Natale.
Yeah, so whatever avenue we go with parking, I am convinced we're going to need someone here or people here to enforce whatever we employ, because even with a cashless system, you still need enforcement. And the discussion we had a few years ago about our parking needs in the downtown, the focus was first and foremost on filling up our garages. We have a lot of underutilized garages. So that was the focus, was to get people off the street and move them into the garage and pay in the garage. The onus for the 2-hour free parking was to incentivize people to come downtown, and there's clearly more reasons now to come downtown for eateries and what have you. And to my colleague from Ward 2's comment about the cost, while he's correct that the costs have increased, but the revenues haven't, I recall very vividly many business owners on the street complaining to me every year about that 50 cents that people did not want to pay. They found it to be an inconvenience. Not that they couldn't afford it, but it was an inconvenience. So it deterred a lot of people from coming down here. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but we are clearly behind the times on parking. That is clear. There are many cities and towns that have modernized how parking is run, and so every meter on the street needs to go, if you ask me, and there needs to be some new system put in place for not just on-street parking, but to utilize the 2 very large garages we have. Because when that theater is renovated in a few years, you're going to see a lot more people down here. When that amphitheater on Riverfront Park is put in, you're going to see a lot more people using those garages, and that time is to cash in then on revenues. And I'm not against raising parking revenues, raising the fees, not at all. But I think we need to get more people into these garages because these garages can't pay for themselves. They need a lot of work. That's the other problem. It's like the mausoleum at the cemetery. We're not bringing in enough revenue, but that building ain't getting any younger. So we need to find out a way not just to sustain employment, but to keep these garages intact. Because a few years ago, I think we threw $1 million into one of them. For security systems, there was some failing in the trust. So we need to really iron this out this year. And I just wanted to say that the revenues right now in parking are at $122,000. The expenses are $180,000. So right now through May, we're in the red, $60,000. And I don't think 60,000 is a large number to overcome. If you look at the budget over the last 5 years that we've been presented with, one of the jobs, parking control officer, has only increased a net of $3,000 in 6 years. Whether we had a new employee or turnover, that is not driving the expenses. The personal services is not driving the expenses going up. It's the expenses are going up. Utilities are up 45% from where they were 5 years ago. Contract services is up 118%. Now, why is that? Do we know what the economy is right now? Everything that you thought costed X 6 years ago is 16,000 times more expensive now. That's a factor that I have to keep pointing out, because when people hear that costs are going up and revenues are not, it sounds like government mismanagement. Oh, we're employing too many people. No, how about it's just the fact that national and state trends, everything is exponentially more expensive due to no fault of anybody in this room. So it's the principal reason why our budget is in trouble. It's not because of low revenues. It's because we had a $3.5 million increase in health insurance. Hard stop. That's why. Get rid of that. You don't have a budget problem. So I'm glad that this discussion has been had, but I just wanted to clarify some of the financials and point out these expenses are astronomically higher than they were 5 years ago, and I'm willing to bet a lot of it is due to the cost of doing business. And we've got to figure out a way to stay afloat and get these garages in well-running order. So we're going to have to. When this stuff happens, we're going to need them.
Absolutely. So in the interest of moving us along, I'm going to, and since the cuts have been asked to be withdrawn, unless there is an objection to the withdrawal, I'm going to ask unanimous consent to withdraw Councillor Cruz's 2 cuts, and also Councillor Fleming, can I assume that when you withdrew your cuts to the actual positions, the cuts to longevity and overtime should also be withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay, so if there is no objection, those will all stand withdrawn.
So be.
And then next we have Councilor Di Natale, parking building supplies, a cut of $2,000.
So, as I said in the first budget meeting, a lot of the remaining cuts are from me. They're in multiple departments. I see the department heads here. They're going to tell you, don't do it. The usual. I wish we didn't need them to speak, because I'll just speak for them. Don't do it. Whatever they say, just that 2 words. Don't do it. All right? So, 3 words. So, this is the first example tonight where these small cuts are not done without a thorough analysis of the last 5 years. So, the budget is $6,000. We have never spent more than $2,200 in 5 years. So my cut proposal to bring it to $4,000 is still double the highest year of spending in 5 years. Again, I know it's nickels and dimes, but it sticks out like a sore thumb, and as a finance analyst by trade, I can't let it go because I don't get 6, and it won't be 6.
So in the interest of speed, I think since this rationale was very capably explained to us by Councilor Di Natale at the previous meeting, I would just ask, Madam Treasurer, is there a particular reason that you anticipate that the expense on this line item will increase to $6,000 this year?
You should be here to hear this. No, there isn't.
Okay.
I really don't have a problem with that cut.
Wow, that's a rarity.
Make a motion to accept.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second to accept a cut of $2,000 to this line item. If there is no objection, it is approved. Next, we have a cut by Councilor Di Natale of $16,078 from the treasurer's salary. Councilor Di Natale.
Okay. Actually, if I could ask the council to package the 3 in the treasurer, not excluding postage. The
Treasurer, assistant treasurer.
Because my rationale for these reductions all applied to the 3 positions. So, in short,
Are we packaging the 3?
If there is no objection, I'll let Councilor Di Natale introduce these all at once. If there's later a desire to vote on them separately, we can still do that.
I just meant my rationale is the same.
So hang on just a second. Is there any objection to bring these up simultaneously?
No.
All right, go ahead, Councilor.
So I have a profound disagreement with whomever is making the decisions in our city to set these salaries. And I know I'm going to be told 5 ways till Sunday why they're justifiable. They don't make any sense to me. I don't really care what the explanation is. And I'll tell you why. These salaries speak to me as if the city has no basis on years of experience. Years of service, years of experience, background. I'm not even questioning education, certifications. Years of experience and time on the job does account for much in an employment decision. Certainly, in my opinion, as a 20-year member of the private sector, it determines a lot of what you're going to get paid. Some of these salaries make no sense to me. You look at the salary book for the treasurer's position, and the outgoing treasurer, the treasurer currently is retiring this month in a matter of 10 days, very soon. She has worked for the city for, well, I don't want to say she, keep it to the position. The treasurer's position is going to be open at the end of the month due to retirement. I was on the Treasurer's Select Committee years ago to hire the current treasurer. So I know her background, her credentials, and how many years she served this city and before this city. What these salaries say to me as a counselor is, who cares about years of experience? We'll just justify it based on education and anything else. It can't be based on years of experience, because nowhere in my career or anywhere else that I've seen in this city, other than this year, you have a seasoned, well-experienced veteran retiring, and the new person who has far less experience, a lot younger, I don't care if they have 16 PhDs, start the same number as the one leaving. I don't get it. It's not a personal thing. It's nonsensical that the retired person made the same as the new person. By that logic, the new person, whomever that is, I'm not using names, will be making $200,000 by the time my kids are out of college. And there's never been a treasurer in this city's history who even came close to that. The same problem is, this is the same thing that I had with the previous situation when we had a fight with the fire chief issue, where the argument was to make what the 40-year veteran was making when I only have 10. I don't disparage a department head for making the most in a department. I believe they should. But in certain circumstances, they should make as little as possible more than the next person, so that the highest paid. I just can't get to this. I can't get to, you have someone leaving and someone coming on and they make the same. That makes no sense. And so you look at the history of that salary, and then the same thing applies to the assistant treasurer. The assistant treasurer position is open right now. It's being interviewed for. It's not filled yet. So there's no one there, because the assistant is going to be the top. The budget is saying that the assistant is going to be $94,796. The highest in those 5 years other than FY22, which was 102. We're going to hire a brand new assistant treasurer at a salary that is higher than the last 6 years. I know we haven't hired the person yet, but I have to account for history, because experience matters and the historical costs matter. Basically, these budgets are saying to me, whatever we paid the previous person, we're just going to pay the current person the same amount. Payroll and benefits manager, another doozy. We had a retirement, 28 years of service, 28-year veteran retire, and then we filled a position with someone with far less experience, far less. They're probably qualified, but far less, making more than what she was making. I can't compute it. So that is the rationale for these cuts. The council can do what they want. None of these make any sense to me. None. And I know I'm going to be told, well, this person, this and this or that. I'm not buying it. Because then that either suggests to me that some of our salaries are way out of whack with where they should be, or we're going to have a problem in 10 years, because I know my colleagues are concerned about labor cost growth. This is going to be a problem in 6 or 7 years. We're going to be paying a treasurer $150,000.
Why isn't it?
Because they started where the person leaving ended. Unless they've got equal experience, I can't get there. I don't care what the explanation is. I can't get there. That's like me filling in for my boss who's retiring after 42 years, and the company goes, oh, we're just going to pay you what he was making. That would never happen. So that's my issue with these three positions. The third position, being even more egregious, where the new person's making more than the former person after 28 years. So I'm not getting it. And so my cuts are to bring them back into the level of sanity, in my opinion, to also avoid the next 5 years. These salaries are going to be, I don't even know what they're going to be in 5 years, 10 years. So I'm not against someone earning the top amount in a department if they run the department. But to make the same amount as the outgoing person, I can't get there, and therefore I don't agree with these salaries. I don't know who made these decisions. I think they're not good decisions.
You have made your point very clear.
So that's the reason for these cuts. They're ridiculous.
So I'd just like to weigh in briefly and note that I would think long and hard before questioning the conclusions of the finance chair on accounting, on numbers. But I do feel compelled to point out that there is a dimension that I think is missing from this analysis, which is the labor market. It does us no good to say that in an idealized scenario, a new person in the position ought to be paid X amount if that's not the amount we can actually hire someone for. If there's a shortage of qualified applicants, if there's a high demand statewide or nationwide for people with these skill sets, then if we offer too low a number, we're going to get qualified people saying, no thanks, I'll go elsewhere. And it does us no good, I feel, as a city to take that and say, well, okay, go elsewhere, because then we'll wind up with someone who is not cream of the crop, not at the top of their game for whatever level of experience they may have. We'll wind up with someone who is struggling to find a position and will take any number we throw at them because no one else is taking them. That's not the kind of person we want in these positions. That's my take on it. Now, if someone had clear evidence that that is not the case, that the market would easily bear a lower salary and that we could get a highly qualified person at a lower number and we're just not doing it, then I'd be upset. I would consider that a waste of city money. But I don't think that's what's happening here. Councillor Fleming.
Yeah, so I have a few questions. And the first one, well, actually, the first one's a comment. I have spoken to HR asking about these numbers and could not get a straight answer. I want to know where these numbers are coming from, what sources she was trying to pull them from. I went on Lincolnton. I was on Indeed. I was everywhere looking at these positions, and these positions are inflated. I also went on the MMA, also inflated. I could not get a straight answer about any of these hiring salaries. That's the first question. Now, the first comment. Secondly, we got a job posting about payroll benefits manager, which here it's showing $87,488. But I don't know if someone is leaving that position, and because we have a job posting for that same position.
It is vacant.
It is vacant. So the hiring range is $52,572 to $67,392. But if you're a grade 8, the range is a little bit higher. Now, just from previous hires that we've had, I find that they're all being hired on the top end, not in the middle, not on the lower end, but all at the top end. Is there an explanation for that? I couldn't seem to get these answers from our HR director.
So given that for the aforementioned reason, go ahead. I'm sorry. You still have the floor.
And as far as the market, if somebody wants to work for the city, they're going to work for the city because there's other benefits to working to the city and working in a municipality. There's different benefits when you're in the private sector, and you have different benefits when you work for a municipality. So people who want to work for a municipality will work for a municipality, even if they're not at the high end of the pay scale. I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. President, just to clarify.
Oh, go right ahead, Madam Mayor.
The payroll and benefits manager, we do have, that role is filled. There is a person working there for about a month now.
I thought I had been told it would become vacant recently.
The employee benefits coordinator.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. I'm sorry. That was my mistake.
Thank you.
It's payroll and benefits manager.
That is,
Okay.
yeah, that's a different position. The employee benefits coordinator has resigned.
Which is not on the cut list. Thank you for the clarification, Madam Mayor. Yep. Councilor Boschman.
Yeah, let me explain something. When I first saw these salaries, I was really upset, and I asked the question, same question as councilor to my left, to the councilor to my right. Who is the one that's making these numbers? Who's giving these numbers out? Now, am I going to cut the salaries here? I don't know what I'm going to do yet, to be honest with you. To be quite frank with you, I'm just upset because nobody's telling me the same thing. Who's giving the okay for these high pays? And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to say something, but it's pretty close to, you can call it a sport. If you look at teams, a team tries to keep everybody almost happy and incomplete, and everybody works together as a team to get ahead. We as a city, and I'm going to make it very clear as long as I'm on the council, no longer can afford big salaries. We can't afford them. Whether you want the top best or the middle best, we can't afford the top best any longer. We just can't do it. We can't buy a Lamborghini and all we can afford is a Cadillac. We just can't do it. I'm sorry. You know, am I going to cut these positions? I don't know yet. I really don't. I talked to the treasurer over there, and I talked to Jackie. I still want to find out who's giving the okay for these house salaries, and I can't get that answer. I can't get it. Do you know? You seem to know everything. Do you know?
Well, I'm glad I succeed in conveying that impression. But I don't want to get too much into the weeds of the HR piece of this because Susan Davis was unable to be here this evening. Like I said, I know the actual reason. I'm not going to disclose all the details, but it is, I will say, a highly valid family emergency. So I don't want to wind up in a position where we are second-guessing her without her being here to explain anything. But I will say that I've looked at some of these market rates as well, and what numbers you come up with really depends on your comparables. You know, it depends on what you're comparing to what. If you look at sort of a statewide average of everywhere, then we're paying through the nose. But if you look at cities and town, or if you look at municipalities of comparable size and complexity, not so much. But that's all I'll say on the matter for now, because I don't want to get out beyond what I know for certain, and because Susan isn't here for us to ask. Councilor Giannisali.
Salary ranges are developed through an analysis of job function, education, certifications, and experience. And the experience is the biggest part of it. That's why there's a range. You never see a job post that says it's 75 grand. You'll see it say 50 to 86,999. And they know why there's a range. Now, I don't want to use the phraseology that was used earlier about, well, if we pay this person mid-range, we're getting mid-talent. That's not how I see this. We can get great talent for the lowest price. And I'm not questioning the talent or the hiring decisions. I'm questioning the salaries that are set when the relay begins.
God bless you.
And what is taking place here is either one of two things is true in our city. The people that are leaving are grossly underpaid, or the people starting are grossly overpaid. That's it. And I don't believe it's the latter. I mean, I don't believe it's the former. I believe it's the latter. And like I said before with the payroll and benefits position, the person coming in is making more than the 28-year veteran leaving. And I happen to know they don't have 28 years. It's substantially less. But they're making more. We're going to have a payroll and benefits manager who's going to be making over $100,000 in the next 5 years. Never seen. So my reductions will still make the treasurer the highest paid person in the Treasury Department at $100,000. And if they're here for 25 years, they'll get there. But you gotta earn it. That's why work experience is a crux of what you're compensated. It plays a role, market or not. I get the market issue. But the market has never said, we're going to pay someone, I'm just using an example, it's not with anybody in the city. We're going to pay someone with 6 years experience $125,000, which the person with 36 years experience was making. Irrespective of the market, that doesn't happen anywhere. But it's happening here. Whatever happens, I'm not going with these out of principle. It makes no sense. And so the market argument to me is weak, because the market does not say you pay the 30-year person, that you pay the 3-year person the same as the 30-year person. Or else what the heck is the 27-year difference? Does that count for anything? That just blows the whole labor market out of the water. Who cares how much experience you have? That doesn't compute anywhere you go, public or private, nowhere. So I know HR is not here, but like Council, I didn't get a satisfactory answer. And therefore, I'm putting these forward. I'm going to vote for them. They don't pass, fine. Then maybe I won't vote for the budget, because I'm not going to go forward with salaries like this. Or we're going to have the highest salaries in North Central Massachusetts in the next 10 years. We've all been talking about how salaries are getting higher and higher. In a case-by-case basis, maybe that is warranted. You can't paint this with a broad brush. That's why years of experience plays a significant role. It's why you don't hire a fire chief at the age of 32 to make what the person at 65 was making. So I'm getting ticked off about this, because it's like I'm missing something here, but I don't think so.
Mr. President, make sure he counts down. I want to give him out the mouth.
I think he would concur in that desire.
I'm going to be told tonight, like the rest of you, oh, it's because of this and this and this and this and this. But they won't talk about the issue I'm bringing up, the years of experience.
I agree.
Here to here. But they're the same. So either the people leaving got shortchanged and he didn't care or couldn't do anything about it, because we have a lot of highly qualified people who are leaving who, based on these new salaries, were making nothing. And they were excellent.
Counselor, you've made your point. I'd like to, I see the mayor would like to weigh in. Before I go to the mayor, I'd like to just note that I think there is a third option. It could be that the outgoing person is underpaid. It could be that the incoming person is overpaid. It could be that the outgoing person is being paid fairly, but for one reason or another lacks either the desire or the clout to demand that their salary be recalibrated to the current market, rather than simply taking their step increases and COLAs. A new hire is not the same as retaining a current hire unless you assume 100% job mobility, where the person currently in the spot has nothing keeping them here other than the salary. If there's a desire to not switch jobs, that can sometimes lead to not asking for a drastic, increase that may be justified. But anyway, Madam Mayor,
Thank you,
Go
President Zarella. Just hearing the conversation, I just wanted to add a point to the council that, after the discussions of the past few months, through that, we have reached out to a organization to institute a salary survey completed for the city of Fitchburg when it comes to non-union positions at this time. And we have solicited that quote, and we are now, actively looking to for grant funding to facilitate the survey of the salaries for the non-union members within the city of Fitchburg to help assuage concerns on either side of this discussion. And just as a secondary point, I support my staff, and I would urge the council to support these salaries that were offered and accepted by the individuals that are mentioned in this cut, and especially considering the difficult situation that the city now finds itself in, particularly when it comes to finances. So I would urge the council not to use this avenue to potentially damage the Treasury, the Treasurer's Department, especially at this current time, and allow them the opportunity to create efficiencies and improve the way that they do business in the office, and hopefully find those benefits that we are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. My understanding is the treasurer's position is now filled. We know that, and the payroll benefits manager position is currently filled. And the only position that's currently open is the assistant treasurer. Are we contractually obligated to both the treasurer's position and the payroll benefits manager? Are those people under contract?
Yes, we have people hired in those positions, the treasurer and the payroll benefits manager.
And they have a signed contract?
The payroll benefits manager is a member of the managers union, and the treasurer would be in the ordinance.
Okay.
The assistant treasurer, after this budget will be enacted, will be an open position.
And that salary that's listed there of $94,000, that's the same salary that was paid 4 years ago to the assistant treasurer.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've talked about this at great length, the sort of salaries and how they're not sustainable here in the city. I think you look right here to the treasurer's position as being a perfect example of what was promised to us when we accepted the matrix and what we understood of the matrix and where salaries would begin versus where they would go step by step by step with cost of living increases and things of that nature. And yet, again and again, here we are. What was promised was not delivered. We're starting the new treasurer at this amount. So once again, I don't know if cuts today are the appropriate response, given that we have signed contracts and we have the other one is a union contract for payroll benefits manager. Whether or not this is the appropriate action, but this is another one of those things here in the city that we need to get going on and take a good hard look at sustainability and the choices we're making, because at the current pace, it is not sustainable. We are not bringing in the revenue to support growth of this magnitude. So whether or not this passes today, or whether or not we should even do it and get ourselves in the legal trouble by doing it, it's clear to, I think, everybody sitting here that this is an issue that needs our immediate attention. I yield the floor. Thank you.
Councillor Green.
I'm, again, concerned with, here we are again, wrapped in the trenches with, HR issues that are beyond our control at this point as we see it. But yet we hear from the mayor's office that that, you know, that hopefully a company is going to be hired to take a look at this. This has been ongoing for a while, even before, you know, the 5th revision of the budget has come out. So I'm concerned when department heads are no longer responsible for the employees they hire, and where that's left all to the HR department. And this is not a criticism, this is just an observation, that just like we decided that parking needs an overhaul and a look at, I really think HR and the roles and functions that happen in the HR department and the standards by which we continue to hire for this department are different than this department. So I support there being a third party taking a look at it, but it sounds at this point tonight that our hands are kind of tied with those positions because they've already been advertised, accepted, and filled. So I guess I'm stuck on, because I would not support these salary increases, not at this point, without getting a fair understanding of why we've got 20-year veterans leaving a position and that we hire somebody making more than what that person, and again, maybe it's the way it's always been done. I think that's even more reason to say we need to do better with that, because just because it's been done like this doesn't mean that's best for us moving forward. We are going to bankrupt ourselves with salaries like this. I understand that we have a contractual obligation to some of our employees, to all of our employees, but the steps and the matrix by which we get there are crazy to me, that people are walking out with 7% and 8% increases year after year after year after year to make up for what hasn't been done in years past. So with that being said, I yield the floor, but we need to get better at this, definitely. Thank you.
And I got you. I'll just say, I think there's a clear appetite across the whole council for a good hard look at some of these issues going forward, myself included. I think we need to have that good hard look before we run the risk of winding up in, whether it's labor litigation or whether it's simply losing people that we have and having to go out and find someone who may want even more money to walk in the door, or not finding anyone at all because we've misjudged the market and we just can't fill the position, because these are not positions that can go unfilled. So I think, I hope that we will see, whether it's a grant-funded salary study or whether it's, failing that, something done in-house comprehensively with the input of the council. I think we definitely do need to take a look at these things long and hard. It may be that that's just the state of the market and we just have to budget for it going forward. It may be that we're making mistakes and we can fix them. But I think we need to not make that call tonight necessarily. That's my opinion. Councillor Fleming.
Yes, so I'm going to piggyback on what Councillor Cruz and Councillor Green said. I might want to add to that again, if the mayor was a city councilor, which she was at one time, she would be questioning these salaries as well. So it's interesting how the tune has changed. And I need to remind everybody that it's us, the taxpayers, that are paying these salaries. So where is the money going to come from to pay for these higher salaries? And I ask the council that as well. Thank you.
Councillor Green.
Again, I don't know who in the audience with my department head or finance team is going to answer this, but can you tell me from the 3 positions that are before us, treasurer, assistant treasurer, and payroll benefits manager. What of those positions can we not touch tonight by making a cut because we've already offered the job at a higher salary?
So the treasurer's position, we have our current treasurer that's retiring, and the replacement, has already been appointed. So that position is filled.
And is that position filled at 116, 189?
I believe so, because I'm not sure exactly, but I think that was in time for the budget, so yes.
Okay, so we are by obligation obligated because we've offered and they've accepted, correct?
Correct.
What?
Yeah, it's in the ordinance, so the grade and step in the matrix.
Even though it's a non-union position?
Correct. It's in the,
we are still obligated.
Well, the offer has been made and accepted, so yes, I would think.
Okay. Assistant treasurer?
Assistant treasurer will be vacant in 10 days, so that will be going out, that will be advertised.
Okay, and was it advertised for 94,796?
I don't know that it's been advertised yet.
It hasn't been advertised.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Payroll and benefits manager?
That is a filled position, and that is in a union.
That's 87,488?
I assume that's, I don't know if that's actually her rate or if that was just the amount in the budget. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the timing, because I'm not sure, when we submitted the budget, whether she had already been made that offer.
Okay, so essentially our hands are tied on the treasurer and the payroll benefits manager.
In the sense that they're both filled positions.
And Counselor, if we did wish to change the assistant treasurer salary, we would probably need to change the ordinance at some point subsequent to the budget. That is an ordinance position as well, correct?
It is, but because it isn't filled, I'm sure there's a grade and step that's associated with that sum, but that doesn't mean they would be hired at that grade and step.
Doesn't matter what the ordinance says.
Okay, so I just want to understand before I make my decision.
Yep.
If we were to advertise for the assistant treasurer position and we agreed with the budget cut, we could advertise that position for $80,000? If that's what, that's what's before us. It's a proposal. And see where that goes, because we're not obligated at this point, right, to offer.
No, you're not obligated. It will be vacant. But I'm not sure where $80,000, I looked back just in the past years, and in fiscal 15, that's what we paid the assistant treasurer. So that salary is 10 years old. If you were to cut it to $80,000, that's about the rate we were paying in fiscal 15.
Okay, so what about the, was $73,840 in 2023? Was that, to fill somebody who had left?
That might have been, that was probably a time when it was vacant for a period of time.
So 88,000 is closer to 24 requested?
Yes, I would think so, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there was a point I wanted to clarify on.
Mr. President, I think we're about ready for a vote. I make a motion to accept the bundle, the three.
I have a question about the bundle.
Okay. I withdraw my motion.
All right, well, I'll go to Councillor Boschman.
I'm the proposer, so can I not speak anymore?
You can. I'm just going in the.
I'm just asking.
I'm just going in order.
Yep.
Well, Mr. President, if he wants to speak, I'd like to listen to the young man talk before I open my big mouth. Yeah, he can say what he wants.
I think, would we not need a motion after everyone's spoken twice, do we not need a motion to speak and then again on the motion?
No, because we are in a committee meeting, not a council meeting.
Thank you.
Councillor Giannisali, you have the floor.
Everyone is talking about the ordinance. This has nothing to do with the ordinance because the ordinance has a range, and what the city is doing is they're putting these positions to start at the high end of that ordinance. Okay? Number one. Number two, This has nothing to do with what the position paid 5 years ago. There was a different person in the position. And they started at a low point and worked their way to that point. So both points have nothing to do with what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible that, for example's sake, we have a system in place that says the 35-year vet leaving, the new person's getting paid as if they were working here 35 years. That's the system now. And so I don't care what the salary was 5 years ago. All right? I care about the fact that there are 20 plus, there's such a large gap, but the number is the same. Again, no market justifies that, or else everybody in the private sector is making 50% less than they should be. I mean, I'm upset because my argument for this is really black and white. It has nothing to do with the ordinance, has nothing to do with the matrix, has nothing to do with, oh, well, they were making, if you cut this, it's what it was 5 years ago. Apples and oranges, different situations. Just focus on that one fact, everybody. The 5-year vet is getting paid the same as the 35-year vet. That's my point. That's insane. And as to the treasurer's position, it's not union. That position can't be paid unless this package is voted for. We control the purse. Unfortunately, the union one, yeah, we can't do that one. Go figure. But, you know, that one is the most egregious of the three. And I won't get into that, but I know the whole story on that one. This to me is a method where we go like this. Throw the dart at the board. Oh, we hit the big number. That's what we'll hire them at. If you don't believe that, then the people leaving, boy, they were missing something. I'm defending them. Unheard of. And when I tell my boss this tomorrow, he's going to think this is happy hour.
Councillor Cruz, or Councillor Boschman, rather?
To echo my friend over here to the right, I agree with you 100%, but I can't touch the treasurers. There's an agreement made, and we can't touch the other one. But I'll go to my other councilor friend over there, Amy Green. I like to go down to $80,000 to start if we advertise it. I know I may turn off some people, but, you know, we're going to start somewhere. I'm not starting at $94,000 for a job. It's great. That's more money than I ever made in my lifetime. Right, when I made $50,000, I worked every day of the week, 7 days a week. I thought I was in heaven. And grace, people are walking in, making twice and three times as much, and they're crying. They're saying they can't afford to live. Really? Live on Social Security. When I hear people tell me that. But I won't touch the treasurer's pay. I won't touch the other one pay. But I will touch the assistant's pay. I agree on that. I agree with you, Amy, 100%. And we set the salary, and we can say we start here to here, a range. And we don't give them the high end. We set the range. They don't even do it in the private sector. I told you that today. In the private sector, they don't. They have a range. And they start with the low end, and they work their way up, and they say, this is where we're going.
Councillor, we've covered the concept of the range many times from several different councillors.
Well, I'm just explaining it a little bit better, I hope.
Before we move to a motion, the final comment I will make is simply to note that if we were to cut the assistant treasurer position to $80,000, we would be attempting to hire an assistant treasurer to make $7,500 less than one of the people who would report to them. I'm not sure that's viable in the labor market. That said, I believe, Councillor Cruz, you had a motion.
It sounds like the councilors want to take out the assistant treasurer, so I make a motion to approve cuts to the treasurer and payroll benefits manager.
All right, this is a, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the cuts to the positions of treasurer and payroll benefits manager.
To approve the cuts?
Yes, that is the form of the motion. So if you vote yes, that is to make the cut. If you vote no, it is to reject the cut.
On the motion?
On the motion.
Just to clarify, Mr. President, with what you just said, my $80,000 number was based on the payroll and benefits manager going down to 75.
Of course, I understand
Because
that.
I believe that that is the most egregious of the three.
I do understand that. I'm just pointing out that if it is the will of the council to cut just the one unfilled position,
Yeah, but that was
would put
why
them.
I wasn't, I was aware of that, which is why, yeah, if this doesn't pass, then the 80 doesn't, may not make sense to many people, so.
Okay, so I have a motion and second on the treasurer cut of $16,078 and payroll benefits manager cut of $12,488. All in favor of the cuts? In opposition? Motion fails by a vote of 3-6. We have the final proposed, not final, but the remaining proposed cut of this batch, $14,796 from the assistant treasurer.
Motion to approve.
Can I motion, Mr. President, that we amend the cut number now that that didn't pass?
You can make a motion for an amendment.
I amend that I propose that the 94,796 number be reduced to 90 even.
Second.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second to amend the proposed cut from a $14,796 cut to a $4,796 cut.
On the motion?
On the motion?
May I ask the council for an answer, a question?
You
I'll
can
ask the chair.
You can ask through me.
So are you telling me that you want to advertise that job at 90,000?
So I want to clarify something. We're not telling the city advertise the job at 90,000. We're setting a maximum limit of 90,000.
Oh, okay, maximum.
So the range has to be up to 90,000. They could hire somebody that will make considerably less than 90,000, but we're kind of hamstringing them now because of what just took place, where the payroll and benefits manager is making 88 grand. You know, so I believe the city would be well within their purview to put this position at around 90, whoever they come up with. I'm saying I want the budget to reflect that this job makes more than the payroll and benefits manager, but not that much. Because I argue the payroll and benefits manager number is ridiculous.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Counselor?
I think so.
Now, do I... Okay, so I have a motion and second for the amendment. This is not to make the cut. This is to amend the proposal. Is there any objection to the amendment? Seeing none, it is so amended.
Motion to approve the cut of $4,796.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the cut of $4,796. On the motion, all in favor? Yeah, I'll support that as well, in the interest of, well, collegiality. So that will pass unanimously. Next, we have a proposed cut of $5,000 from the treasurer's postage line item. Councilor Gianitali, should I assume this is the same rationale as the other expense cuts that you've proposed?
Yes, and I'm aware that the postage costs go up every year. But if you look at the last 5 years, with this cut bringing it to 110, it still is more than what they've spent in most of the last 5 years. The 115, I don't believe in the projection. I mean, when the projection equals the requested, that's a red flag for me. That's just, I don't believe the number. And through May, postage expenses so far through May, $97,992 for a yearly projection of $106,000. I'm proposing it go to 110, about 4,000 more than what they're spending this year. I think 10 is a little too much. And Ms. Cervantes has, or her predecessor, Ms. Horn, has a lot of bandwidth in the treasurer's budget. In the last 5 years, they've returned a lot of money back to the city. If they go over $2,000 or $3,000, they can cover it. So the cut, like most of my cuts, would still yield the highest or close to the highest that they've spent in 5 years, keeping in account what they're doing right now. They're about $5,000. They're going to come in about $5,000 less than that if this cut goes through. So it's a $5,000 increase. I hate the word cut. It's a $5,000. If you prove this, it's a $5,000 increase over what they're spending this year, not 10.
Madam Clerk?
I would just like to point out, I wasn't here in 2020. I have a federal election for vote by mail ballots that about 10,000 come out of that postage line that gets mailed out for the president primary, state and federal election.
Not by June 30th.
And vote by mail was not as popular 2020 as it 2024. It's grown every year.
So thank you, Ms. Bellotta. I forgot about that.
Thank you. That's
Your predecessor smacked me around 4 years ago when I did the same thing. I said, you're forgetting the presidential election, mister. I said, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I withdraw my cut.
Second.
Does anyone have an objection to withdrawing the cut?
Second.
All right. Thank you very much.
See, I admit when I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah. And that's good. Good quality. Next up, we have a cut of $24,460 to community development contracted services. Councilor Giannicelli.
I put this forward for an understanding of what this is going to do. I'm looking at the numbers for the last 5 years, and I'm sorry, councilors. I know you're looking at the budget document, and it's fairly accurate. I cannot stand that projected column. It's bunk. All right, it's not real. But contracted services and community development, are we spending anything this fiscal year? Because right now the number is 0.
Yes. We have a number of properties that we have under RFP that either are going out or have gone out and are now under purchase and sale but haven't completed. But part of that contract services is for the realtor fees that don't get paid till the closing. So unfortunately, we have a number of properties that haven't closed, and that's why you're not seeing any expenses. However, I want to make a point and an apology. We tried to add this contract services line item and in this amount for transparency purposes. It's entirely grant funded. This was meant to reflect that we're pulling in as a contracted service the downtown coordinator.
So this is
there are no city dollars in
this is a grant funded expense item.
Correct.
I withdraw my motion, my proposal.
Second.
Any objections? And by the way, just for clarity, as a procedural matter, I haven't been treating requests to withdraw cuts as formal motions, so we don't need a second unless there's some objection to unanimous consent. All right, next we have a $2,000 cut to community development, travel, and meetings, and I will just note for the council that after this item, I would like to take us to a 5-minute recess. Councilor Giannicelli.
Another nickel and dime one. I guess I have a disagreement with the FY22 and FY23 numbers. With encumbrances, the auditor gave me the status C reports for those 2 years. I double-checked them this morning. Even with the encumbrances, I am not seeing over $2,000 for each of those 2 years. I'm seeing $1,500 in FY22, and $80 in not $80. I'm sorry, $494 in FY23. I'm not getting to those two numbers. I don't know if that's an error or I'm missing something, but I make sure to do the encumbrances and the continued appropriations in the current year, which get tacked on to. I've got it all covered. I'm not getting these numbers. That was why I proposed this cut. I don't believe these numbers. The numbers I have, the average spend over 5 years is only $1,027. So I thought $3,395 was excessive. And so the cut to $2,000 would yield a doubling of what they have historically spent over 5 years. Never before going over $2,000. But I know this package says otherwise. I don't understand where those numbers are coming from, because it's not matching the status E.
I just want to say I really appreciate your approach to these cuts, and looking back over the 5 years with respect to travel and training, probably the worst 5 years to compare it to. First couple of years, pandemic, we weren't going anywhere for at least 2 years of that. There was no travel and training happening even when we went back to work. People weren't meeting in person anymore. So it took a while to get back to in-person meetings. And then the last 2 years, I was significantly understaffed. So I had a lot of vacant positions, so there wasn't as much travel.
So because of my respect for you, and you've never steered me the wrong way before, I am willing to withdraw this cut and see where you fall next year to see if that pans out. So
I appreciate it.
The data then is inconclusive. Thank you.
Does anyone have an objection to the cut being withdrawn? All right, that will be withdrawn as well. And we will now have a 5-minute recess. We will reconvene at 8:43 p.m. 8:46. We are returning from recess. We are now in session. Next up, we have a proposed cut of $45,000, that is full amount, from the Facilities Maintenance Contract Services line item. Councillor Boschman.
Oh, I didn't think it was me. Oh, listen, the reason why I put that position in, two reasons why. When Alex got up there and talked to us, and he said that they wanted a farmhouse for snow removal on sidewalk. According to the job description of the custodian, job description at City Hall is to shovel sidewalks, and that he probably even do some snow removal with the snow blower. So I didn't want to pay $200 an hour or $300 an hour for a storm to the contractor when the building, the person, the custodian is supposed to do it. And you said they didn't want to shovel. And I'll quote your word on that. You told us that he hurt his back and he didn't want to shovel no more.
I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble by saying this, but he got hurt and so he can't shovel. I don't know how much more I can say without privacy issues. But he can't shovel, so we cannot put him to shovel.
Yeah, we can't get into further detail on that.
Well, I'm not asking when they go into detail, but I will say one thing. Being a private sector, if you can't perform the duties of the job, you can't be there. That's my argument. Well,
let's avoid getting into labor law at the moment, just because it's shark-infested waters for us to start discussing this here in open session, especially without our HR director present to guide the discussion. So we can talk about whether the $45,000 is needed or not, but as far as the whys and wherefores of the custodian not performing this duty, we can't get into that any further this evening.
I didn't ask you to.
Okay, I'm just advising the council what is and is not on the table.
Well, that was the reason why I refused to. I don't think it's fair for the taxpayers that I should pay as a resident and the other people being residents $200 a storm to shovel sidewalks for City Hall. I really think it's wrong. I think it's unfair. So if we're going to do that, let's farm out everything. Farm out everything. Don't have no City Hall, just farm it all out. Really. Just farm out everything. Be cheaper. Don't have to worry about headaches, contract, unions, hurting your back, picking up a piece of paper.
Councillor, you've made your displeasure known.
I'm up here anyway. Trying to warm up.
I'll provide additional hot air as needed. Councillor Green.
Yeah, I would like to point out that contracted services goes beyond shoveling. Contracted services also covers the fact that City Hall will take care, correct me if I'm wrong, take care of their own plowing and snow blowing.
Correct.
So I'm not willing to pull, I'm going to speak only for myself as the wife of a DPW worker. I'm not willing to pull staff and labor force from the DPW taking care of, during a snowstorm, taking care of the streets as our #1 complaint on Facebook, to do the job to take care of the plowing and snow blowing that need to be done at City Hall. So it's a bigger, broader position or a service contract versus somebody who can't push a shovel who was hired as the custodian. So I'm not going to be in favor of cutting it, only because I think that if we cut here, it's going to cost more to pull somebody off of doing from the streets and highway division of our DPW. So there's my rationale. Thank you.
Councillor Gianitali.
This is one of the rare instances where the projected number is ridiculously low. It says 25,000. They're shortchanging themselves. The status C through May has an actual of $27,528 with $9,423 in encumbrances for a projected total for the year of $40,310, not 25. So they're at about 40,000 right now. And so the 45 made sense to me. The 20,000 increase, 75% of that increase is because that's what it's costing. Not because they're adding stuff. They're catching up because they're spending over 40 grand right now on a $25,000 budget. So they got to increase the budget to align with what it's actually costing. And I would assume that the low number in part was, due to inflation or what have you, but it doesn't matter. They're spending over 40, so 45 to me makes perfect sense. And most of that increase is not for new stuff, it's to maintain what they're doing this year. Am I incorrect?
You're correct, Counselor.
So I won't support this. There's no financial justification to reduce this to zero, let alone anything, considering what they've been incurring.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the cut. Again, just to remind everyone, a vote of yes will make the cut. A vote of no rejects the cut. All in favor? In opposition? Motion fails 1 to 8. Next, we have cut from Councillor Boschman to the position of Building Commissioner in the amount of $67,327. Councillor Boschman.
Told me to watch what I talk about here. Listen, I don't know how to put this. I put in for this cut, but I don't want to cut the position 67. I told you the reason why. But you told me if I want to put it, but we're going to be careful how I talk.
So would it make more sense then to simply hold this discussion until the later point that we discussed?
Well, let me put it this way to you, Mr. Chair. If they're going to come in front of us to get sworn in, then we'll talk about it then. But if they're not going to come in front of us to get sworn in, then I'm going to talk about it tonight.
Well, that would have to happen.
Well, what happens if they give them a contract?
It's an appointed position.
God bless you.
It does require council confirmation. So
All right.
if that is your concern, I would say you can safely hold off on that.
All right, then I'll hold off. I withdraw them. I withdraw my thing.
Does anyone have an objection to this cut being withdrawn? All right. Councillor Gianatali, cut of $8,151 to the building commissioner position.
Oh, I thought that was already adjudicated 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was one of the ones that...
Was it?
No, it wasn't one of your 30.
That wasn't one of the ones you listed.
Yep.
Oh.
Was it meant to be?
I don't remember now. I'm trying to think. Yes.
Wasn't that the 3%?
I thought that's what that was for. Yeah. If I said it didn't include it, then I think I made a mistake.
I don't think it matched your math, and
Oh.
that's why it was an outlier.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't believe. I think I put this with the rest of that matrix.
Okay, so in that case, in light of the fact that those previous cuts failed, would you be willing to withdraw?
No, withdrawn, because that was
Okay.
already, the council already made their decision on that. That was lumped in with the other 13 positions. My apologies.
Not a problem. It happens. Lots of stuff to cover. Next, we have a cut from Councillor Gianatali, $5,000, Board of Health Maintenance and Supplies, curbside. Curbside something. I cut off my column.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm laughing because this is like deja vu for me. I mean, Mr. Curry is very professional, and he's probably saying to himself, this guy won't leave me alone, just like Mr. Bonilla from IT. because I've had this is what is, Mr. Curry, what is it, 17 years in a row now I've gone after this?
I believe it is 7.
Maybe. Well, you know, that song, at first you
Make it 3 more, we'll give you a nice
dust
pin.
yourself off and try again.
Feels like 20.
Anyway, all right, so I didn't check off the director. That's not what this is. Okay, so maintenance and supplies curbside. So the next 4 cuts, all in Mr. Curry's department, are, again, the rationale that I've employed for the other cuts that many of you have voted for and some haven't. This is just a difference of opinion with the health department and my financial analysis of, I believe these accounts are heavy. They are more often than not heavy. And in the tight crunch we're in, I'm just trying to trim it back, ensuring that what you leave the department is more than what they've spent this year and most of the last 5 years. Any cut I propose is not to reduce it below a spending level. It's if you spend 20 every year for 5 years and you get 35, I want to reduce it to 25, leaving a $5,000 buffer, still more than what they spend, but I'm not getting the 35 unless it's a presidential election. So I know Mr. Curry's going to say, don't do it, because I've heard it for 17 years, but that, and he knows why I'm doing this. I'm not getting it with the math that these numbers I think are a little too heavy, and to trim it back slightly, to leave him with what he has spent. Now, actually, let me take that back. So that applies to maintenance supplies curbside, contract services landfill disposal, and cleanup board and secure funds. So that's those 3. That's the logic for those 3. Leave out the cleanup.
Yeah,
funds.
we'll
That's a
get to
separate
the
issue.
next one.
Okay, so
after.
I'm done. That's my rationale. The numbers don't justify the budget levels by a little bit, and you see the cuts aren't that big. So,
Director Curry?
Good evening, councilors. I do not object to the shaving of these accounts, but I do want to point out that the maintenance and supplies, curbside maintenance supplies account has been 2 accounts combined into one, and the reason why that is because the account has mainly become maintenance of our barrels at curbside recycling and trash. Currently this year, we have gone over the $30,000. We will be around $31,000 or $32,000, and at present, my inventory shows about 30 brand new trash barrels and about 65 recycling carts. So it's tight. Could we survive with the 25? I can certainly try. I just want the council to be aware that that's what that account is funding. 100% maintenance of those carts on the curb. I also want to mention that our rental program does cover the cost of the $25,000 or $30,000. Apples and oranges, I understand, but
Okay, Councilor Green?
Okay, so is that budget then to replace the barrels that the residents have been given and they have to buy, or what are we actually doing with that money, the maintenance and supplies curbside?
so that account does replace some barrels that are broken. It also provides the maintenance. We do maintain some of the barrels, such as a broken wheel, a broken lid. We do buy parts for the carts to try to keep them in working order.
And so
And I just want to remind the council that these carts are now 12 years old, so they're starting to require more and more maintenance year after year.
And you're already underfunded through June 30th of this year?
Right now, we are going to overspend. At present, we have an order in for about $12,000, and I believe there's $3 3,000 to 4,000 in the account at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Is what it is.
Go ahead, Counselor.
This is like a chess game.
Yes, it is.
Yes, through May, the number was 23,000 of the 25 spent. I'm sorry, through May, 21,000 of the 25,000 was spent for a projection of 24,000. But you're saying there's a $12,000 bill that's not included in those numbers?
That is correct.
And when did that bill come about?
That bill the order is going out as we speak.
So it's fresh?
Within the last week, yeah.
Okay, so that then pollutes my analysis, and I will withdraw the cut.
Oh.
If looks could kill.
That's how you do it, see?
So does anyone object to the withdrawal of the first cut, the maintenance and supplies curbside, $5,000?
No.
All right. Was there anything else that you wish to add, Director Curry, as to the other two line items, the landfill disposal and cleanup board secure?
The landfill disposal, we are projected to be at about 728. Just want to, I think the shave for $5,000 we could survive. There is a CPI index increase for the next contract year. We've had a 3 to 5% increase in disposal costs for the past 3 years. It's a tough account because it's all over the place. COVID, when people were home, disposal went through the roof. There is a projection of 760. I will back that up by telling you 6 months of the account showed 380,000. So that is how I will justify my 760 projection. It didn't happen.
The projection is now 655.
70.
Through May. No, that projection's from old data, correct? Back in January, you did that projection?
Correct.
The projection through May is now 655 because you've spent 600 even. Through the May status report,
Yes.
the number is 600K spent.
Currently, we're at I can tell you the exact number what we're at right now. We have about 66,000 left for the June payment. We're averaging about 60 to 62,000 monthly.
So that would put you at about 670,000 for the year.
No, that'll put us at 728. We're at 660 right now.
Okay, so you're at 600 through May.
Yeah.
You're saying you got 66,000 right now.
No, we're at 660 through May.
So I'm not getting that number from the status E. It says 600, 532.
$600,532 is through March. Through April, excuse me. Through April, it is 663,878, 55. So that doesn't, your status E doesn't include April, which was just.
It's not my status E, it's the city status.
I understand that. It was recorded on June 3rd, so it probably hasn't shown up in the
So
status
you get
E.
charged quarterly?
The account is usually 45 days behind, which is the reason why it runs from June to May 30th rather than the normal fiscal year.
I'm going to not withdraw it because, as he's already said, they can swing it. I mean, it's 5,000 out of 730, and I mean, if Mr. Curry's whole department goes over by 5,000, I'll take the blame. It's not going to happen.
Can I get that in writing, Counselor?
In blood. Yeah. I'm not withdrawing that one. That one, I think that.
All right. Well then, for round 3, cleanup board secure.
Again, that account covers clean and lean for those who don't clean their property with appropriate orders. It also secures vacant property. That account currently is about $1,600 over as we speak. That account has become more dependent and then in the last couple of years, I realized we haven't spent the entire account. Could we live with a $5,000 cut? Hopefully, the 40U process will help with it, and maybe we can live with the $5,000 cut.
Anyone on that item?
Motion to approve.
All right, is this a motion to approve both of the?
Are we taking them together, or?
Does anyone wish to take them separately?
Separate.
Separate, okay. So the $5,000 cut to contract services landfill disposal is before us. Anyone have a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the cut to landfill disposal? All right, that passes by, wait a minute, you said 7?
I would be in opposition.
Okay, one, so how many total in opposition?
One in opposition.
One in opposition, gotcha.
Right.
I just had my count off a little bit.
Aren't there 9 of us?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just one.
That's why I was checking, yeah. So that passes 8-1. And now the $5,000 cut to clean up, board, and secure.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor? In opposition? That passes by a vote of 6-3.
Thank you, Councilor.
Oh, you got the big one coming up.
The big one.
A big one.
And then we have proposed cut of $54,000 closed landfill maintenance fund. Councilor Gianatali.
So this fund was newly instituted a few years ago.
Correct.
And there were years where we funded this, but we didn't use it.
Correct.
Can you first explain why we didn't use this fund when we set it up?
Yes, I can. We contracted with an engineer 2 years ago, I believe it was FY23, for the amount of $54,000. That contractor was to provide a plan to the Department of Environmental Protection for landfill monitoring devices at the Blueberry landfill. It's taken 2 years to get that approval from the department. Thus, we have not got into the maintenance portion of the contract. We are now approved, as of April, I believe it was. We got approved for the plan, so we will be back in business with this contract. There are some minor expenditures to the contractor for FY24. I believe it's only $2,000 or $3,000, which is why we haven't spent the money in FY24.
So this funding is to support an existing contract that we have with this company.
Correct.
And their work has been on hold because of DEP.
Correct.
And now that they have been approved and released to begin, we are contractually obligated to have them perform that work?
That's
because we've already
correct.
signed a deal?
That's correct.
Okay, then I respectfully withdraw this cut then.
Any objections? All right, cut's withdrawn. Next, we have $20,000 from employee benefits unemployment. Councilor Gianatali.
This is another one where, looking at the numbers over the last 5 years and what we've actually spent, the highest year was FY21, $234,000. The average over the 5 years is $150,000. FY24 is coming in at right now $138,000. So other than one outlier year where the highest number was $233,000, all the other numbers were below $200,000. So again, I'm not getting to the $250,000. And I don't know about the school department, but I know on the city side, we've said it many times, there's no layoffs, so I'm not getting the 250 when we've been spending under 200,000 for 5 of the last 6 years. So my cut to 230, I think is generous. So the 230 level would put us at that one outlier year of spend and way above the last 5 years, excluding that year. So until I see more evidence that 250 is justified, it isn't from the last 6 years of data, not even close. Again, in this tight fiscal year we're in, I think 20,000 could be applied elsewhere, and I would have even gone 50, but I'm just trying to cover that outlier to be perfectly safe. So even if you cut this, it will still leave in the account enough money to cover the one highest year of spend we've had in the last 6 years. All the 5 of the other 6 years was under 200,000, and we're not having any layoffs. Maybe we may have some in the, I don't know about the schools, but nothing to the level that suggests 250. Especially during COVID. Even during COVID, we lost positions, if you recall, and we didn't spend that much. So I think this 250 is way too much. I think it can easily lose 20.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, anyone on the motion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. Last cut. Employee benefits, Chapter 41 fire, $10,000. Councilor Di Natale.
So I was on the fence about submitting this because I didn't want the public to think that I am cutting firefighter benefits. This is another instance where I know this is contractual in terms of we have to pay these benefits out when they're applied for or when they're necessary. The police has a similar Chapter 41 account. The difference is the police account has been heavily utilized, but the fire department one has not been. So I'm not playing favorites here. I'm just looking at the numbers and saying it's been continuously funded every year for the last 6 years at $70,000. And in FY20, only $16,900 was spent. FY21, $28,000, $22, $34,000, $23, $24,000, and right now in FY24, it's coming in through May actuals at $24,000. So the highest year was about $32,000 in the last 6 years, not even half of the 70. So it just stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I'm not saying they shouldn't be entitled to their benefits, but I'm missing something with the number, because we've continuously funded 70K. I'm sorry, 50K. Thank you, Councilor Green. I'm looking at the police. Did I screw that up then? No, I didn't. Okay, 50K. No, so I've been looking at the 50K. That's been the continuous number, and in only one of those last 6 years, we did as much as 33. Most of the other years was way below that. So I just looked at it and said, I know we if they need it, we have to pay it, but for 6 years straight, we haven't even come close to 50. So I just thought the $10,000 cut would make it 40, which is still $7,000 more than the 1 year outlier and more than double what we have historically spent in those other 5 fiscal years. That's it. I don't think I'm putting them in a position. I just don't get the excess money. We never use it.
Chief, go ahead.
So thank you. And you should be smiling. Your Groundhog Day is almost over.
Okay.
And after reviewing like the 13 years of past numbers here, I concur with the counselor. Most of the time that we've used the majority of this money was when we had an older department. Right now we have a young, healthy department, and I think these cuts are reasonable and fair, so I have no objection to them.
Motion
All right.
to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Did I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve. Let's do it fast before Councilor Di Natale's heart gives out.
For a whole different reason.
Yeah. Do I have any objections? All right, we will pass this unanimously. And That concludes our cuts. That does not conclude our agenda, just to remind everyone, although we are within throwing distance of the light at the end of the tunnel. So now before us would be Order 12424, which would be the approval of the budget as amended.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion. Second?
I have a motion and second to approve the, would you mind withdrawing your motion for a moment? I believe the auditor would like to address us.
Not at all.
It's a different number.
Oh, certainly. Would you like a few minutes?
I've got my number.
Oh, okay.
If we can compare.
Certainly.
You coming to me, you won't go over there? Total I have is 132.
We're going to be voting on these, right?
I did total from last week and total from this week. Are you off by 10,000? Because if you're using this 40, I didn't add the 10 inches.
What do you want?
What's your number? What's your number?
Let's just take a 2-minute recess so there's no pressure on the auditor and the clerk here. 1:24 p.m. We are returning to session. I need to entertain a motion to amend Order 12424 to read General Fund 169,635,935.
Say that again. 169.
169,635,935.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second to make that amendment. Is there any objection to the amendment? All right, it is amended by unanimous consent. Order 124-24 is now before the council. This is the approval of the full operating budget as amended.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the operating budget as amended. All in favor? In opposition? All right, 3 in opposition. Motion passes 6-3. And next we have 125-24. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $700,000, same to be credited to fiscal year 2025 tax levy and charged against overlay surplus. Councilor Gianatali.
Just on this, well, actually, I'll wait for a motion to be made, because...
Okay. Was there anything the finance team wanted to address on this item? Does everyone understand what this item is on the council?
Balance the budget.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. Councilor Gianatali, you wanted to speak on the
I just
motion?
want to explain that because I voted against 124-24, there are several orders that follow it that I'm also going to vote against to be consistent with my no vote, because it wouldn't make sense to vote yes on these on a budget that I didn't vote for, because they are part of the budget. So I just want to explain that.
Makes sense. I mean, an alternative way of looking at it would be the budget already passed, and therefore these are, whichever. Councilor Boschman.
On the 125-24, I talked to Jackie numerous times about this, how I felt. I used to talk to Calvin Brooks about it. I don't believe that we should be using $700,000 out of the assessor's office to balance the books. I think the books should be balanced on what we take in. I understand that I will vote for it, even though I'm totally against it. I'm hoping that next year we don't have to take $700,000 out of the overlay fund. I'd like to see that money go for different other things that we could use. And that's the reason why I feel the way I do.
So, I'm sorry, Councilor Cruz, would you mind if I asked you to withdraw your motion? Just so I can ask a question of the auditor?
I did make
it. Was it? Oh, I'm sorry. It was. Yeah, you made the last motion on the full budget. Okay, Councilor Green, do you mind? Okay. Am I correct in recalling that this transfer from the overlay surplus is because it's unused funds from last year's overlay surplus?
Well, from the whole overlay surplus fund. They're all combined now. The law used to designate specific years, but it's one fund right now. But yes, every year the assessor releases a certain sum, and it can be used for any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
And
this is
it's probably, I mean, the $700,000 has been done this way since I've been here, and I think it goes back several decades even before that. So it's sort of baked in right now to the budget.
All right, Councilor Gianatali?
It's the same reason why there isn't a paving line item. Since it's in the baseline, in order to get rid of it, you have to cut $700,000.
Right.
Because the city has relied on this for 37 years. They've been doing this for 37 years. If you have no free cash reliance, but you have an overlay surplus, under DOR standard, that overlay surplus is also free cash because it can be freed up to be used for any purpose, as was just stated. So in a year where we're not using available funds to balance, technically from the DOR standpoint, the budget is not in balance by the overlay surplus account because it's considered free cash. But because it's been there forever, it's on the line. Ideally, we don't want to use it. We'd love to use that money and maybe create a paving line item. But because the city has relied on it so much for decades, you'd have to extract $700,000 elsewhere in order to get off of this dependency. But 37 years in a row with no issue, I think this is not a big concern at the DOR level, doing it this way. Using this money for the budget balancing, because it's been there forever, and it's likely never going to change. That's all.
Did you have a follow-up comment?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I understand what she says, but I'm a kind of tight, and I like to have a little kitty. Really, I like the fact that the time we went, when your father was there, we paid cash for Dunkin' Donuts, for example, $550,000. We didn't have to borrow, and we got it. I've been on the council for 10 years, and numerous times things came up that we needed to buy, but we couldn't buy it because we couldn't afford it.
So
and it would be nice to have this extra cash.
All right, so Councillor, given that we don't have $700,000 in cuts.
I understand, but I'm just saying that. I'm going to vote for it, don't get me wrong. I told her I was going to talk about it, and that's how I felt.
All right.
That's what I did.
Would you like to renew your motion,
Yes, I would. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor of 125.24? In opposition? 2 in opposition. That passes 7-2. 126.24, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $1,200,000, same to be charged against available funds and credited to fiscal year 2025 tax levy in order to reduce the tax rate. Any comments from the finance team?
This is part of the one-time funds that we're using to balance the budget, so it's free cash.
Comments from councillors or questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and second to approve 126.24. All in favor? In opposition? 2 in opposition, passes 7-2. 127.24, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $3,203,292.37, same to be charged against reserve for municipal purposes and credited to fiscal year 2025 tax levy in order to reduce the tax rate. Anything additional other than the
Well, you recall voting this into the reserve. So this is the $1.8 million from the ARPA funds, also one-time money, and the $1.4 million that we recouped from the fire truck, and we've since authorized a borrowing for the fire truck. So that's the 3.2.
So this is more budget balancing. Councillor Brochman.
That has to do with the fact of the matter the insurance went up, right?
That's why we're in the whole situation we're in, yes.
I understand that. That's the reason why, right? Yeah, all right.
Second.
I have a motion and second on 127.24. On the motion, Councillor Giannicelli?
Yeah, just that 3.2 is what the insurance went up by.
Right.
Look at it that way.
Yeah.
If we just had to use the 1.2 that we had in available funds, that's more in line with the pandemic years. We could stomach that. This whole budget is in a hole because of one account. That's it. I know there's been other reasons for it, but it's just that one account that even our own actuaries were way off on. Okay? So, I mean, hopefully it won't be like that next year, because this money we're going to approve right now, this 3.2, gone next year. Not there. Mm-hmm. So if that health insurance account even grows another $1.5 million, we're in deep dog doo.
All right. All in favor? In opposition? 2 in opposition, passes 7-2. 129.24, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $50,000, same to be charged against PEG access and, sorry?
Let's get 128.
128.
Oh, I'm sorry. I marked it off ahead of time by accident. 128.24, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $80,000, same to be charged against parking meter and garage receipts, credited to fiscal 2025 as follows. Treasurer personal expenses, $20,000. Treasurer expenses, $60,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second to approve. On the motion, all in favor? In opposition? 2 in opposition, passes 7-2. 12924, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $50,000, same to be charged against PEG access and cable-related fund receipts and credited to fiscal year 2025 accounts as follows. IT PEG expenses, $25,000. IT PEG capital, $25,000.
Motion to approve.
On the motion, I'll just note again that I know this is not necessarily the time to do anything about it, but I do feel strongly that going forward, we need to reverse the decision of necessity that was made back in 2008 and return to forwarding all of our PEG funds to FATV because they need it. They provide far more services than they ever did before, and that is what it's for. It's not, I understand IT needs it at the moment, but it's not for balancing our IT budget. So I will support this transfer tonight, but I would like to see it go away in the future, including the contract that entitles us to it. All in favor? In opposition? I have 4 in opposition. Motion passes 5-4. 13024. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $15,000, same to be charged against cemetery sale of lots and graves and credited to FY25 cemetery personal services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Anyone on the motion? All in favor? In opposition? 1 in opposition. Passes 8-1. 13124. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated $8,396,998 charged against Water Enterprise Fund receipts and credited to FY 2025 Water Enterprise Fund accounts as follows. Personal services, $2,318,468. Expenses, $2,180,500. Indirect costs, $1,410,000. Debt service, $1,988,030. Capital expenses, $500,000.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and second. All in favor? In opposition? 1 in opposition. Passes 8-1. 13224. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $17,655,832, charging $15,240,002 against Wastewater Enterprise Fund receipts and $415,830 against Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings, credited to FY25 Wastewater Enterprise Fund accounts as follows. $2,932,460 personal services, $5,179,584 expenses, $1,510,000 indirect costs, $6,329,788 debt service, $1,704,000 capital expenses.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve. All in favor? In opposition? 1 in opposition. Passes 8-1. 13324. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $1,084,715, same to be charged against airport receipts reserved and credited to FY25 airport fund accounts as follows. Personal services, $359,955. Expenses, $724,760.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and second. All in favor? In opposition? 2 in opposition. Passes 7-2. And with that, that concludes. Oh, there's another page I
34.
missed.
24.
Oh, yep. It was too big to fit on the page, and so we needed a page break. But it's on the agenda. Okay, just making sure.
That's the agenda.
All right, excellent. 13424. Order that the City of Fitchburg hereby approves the expenditure of funds from following revolving funds authorized by city ordinance up to the amount available in the fund, or $100,000, whichever is less, except public health sustainability, which shall have an FY25 limit of $750,000. With consent of council, I will waive the reading of the full list. Everyone's familiar with what's on it.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and second to approve 13424. All in favor? In opposition? Passes unanimously 9-0. Lastly, 13624. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 44, Section 10 of the Code of the City of Fitchburg, as most recently amended, by adding thereto the following grade assignments as outlined in the enclosed ordinance. Councilors? Councilor Ginnatali.
Just so everybody knows that if you compare the existing ordinance that we passed last year, the matrix, to this one, there's only 3 or 4 positions that are impacted by this change, and all of them are being reduced, right, to align with what's in the budget. I think I saw that most, if not all, the changes were
there's been some new people in position, so I think
Yeah.
actually the DPW, the building commissioner, now the treasurer, assistant treasurer, I don't know, I think we probably stepped that a little bit back. The mayor's chief of staff and the deputy chief of staff have all changed since the last revision of.
So am I correct in saying to the council that if you don't approve of some of the salaries, that this would be the time for you to not support the ordinance?
Well,
or
I
the
think,
budget passed?
well, you've already approved the matrix.
Right.
What this does, it's a combination of a disclosure, and what you're doing is just setting the grade for all of these positions. And then what we're disclosing here is currently in the budget, people are on those particular steps, and that is the value that's in the budget. So this reflects what's in the budget.
Right.
So,
but if I had an issue with the treasurer's, what the treasurer's position is salary-wise, I wouldn't support this, right?
Well, I think you may not support the grade that it's on. I mean, in the years that I've been here, this has really just been a form of disclosure as a companion to the matrix.
So basically,
and people, I think, can be hired above or beyond, above or below these.
For what everybody's been talking about the salaries, the matrix, correct me if I'm wrong, the matrix, the last year is this fiscal year.
It is,
and then we will have to have sometime this fiscal year, I assume, between July and June of next year, we're going to have presented to us another ordinance for the next 3 years, where we will then have our chance then to address all the concerns that we discussed as a whole about the matrix itself. This is just doing some house cleaning to align it with what's in the budget that was passed. And then I would assume in several months' time, we're going to get a whole brand new one for the next 3 fiscal years, and that's where we'll have it out then. Right? Yeah.
Fair enough.
Councilor Boschman?
I was going to ask the same question. As
Okay.
long as this comes, then we're going to be talking about it during the course of the year. And I'll support this.
It's my understanding that we would have to,
Yeah.
whether we want to or not. Councilor Green?
Right, so this covers us through June 30th of this year, of 2025.
Of 2025, yeah. So this aligns with the budget that you've just voted.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and second to, actually, this is interesting. Because this is an ordinance, this will be to pass it through its first reading. We'll have to take it in its final reading at our next council meeting, at our next regular council meeting, that is.
On the motion?
On the motion?
Just to piggyback off of Councilor Green, just so everybody's clear, the FY26 budget, the next one we get, that will include the new 3-year matrix or whatever we agree to. So to your concern, this covers FY25, the last year, and then we're going to get a whole new matrix to go through finance or council as a whole, and what your concerns are will be had in the next several months. Because before they submit the FY26 budget, they need a new matrix.
As long as the chair makes the meetings, calls the meetings, I'll be all ready.
Me? Oh, plan on it.
All right. So since this is an ordinance, I will ask the chair to please call the roll.
You're the chair.
Sorry, the clerk, I meant to say. It's late. Not as late as it could be, though.
Councilor Boschman.
Yes.
Councilor Kuchar.
Yes.
Councilor Cragan.
Yes.
Councilor Cruz.
Yep.
Councilor Di Natale.
Yes.
Councilor Fleming.
Yes.
Councilor Green.
Yes.
Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
And President Zarella.
Yes.
That passes by 9.
All right. And that concludes our business for the evening and the business of the FY 2025 budget.
Well, we're going into a special.
Second.
And yes, so that is the end of this meeting. Don't anyone pack it up yet, because I'm going to gavel this out. We're going to give FATV a minute to switch over their.
You need a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes, I will need a motion to adjourn. I just want to let everyone know what's going on first. We'll adjourn this meeting. FATV will switch things over, and then we will commence the special meeting of the City Council, where the only thing we need to do is vote to approve the report of the Council as a whole committee.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. Seeing no objection, we are adjourned. We will. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June 12th special meeting of the Fitchburg City Council. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that there's no one in the audience who's recording. For the record, there is no one in the audience who's recording. I am going to ask again that all electronic devices be in silent mode. With no disrespect to our great nation, I'm going to forego the salute to the flag and ask the clerk to call the roll.
We already did it, so.
So I'm going to just start at Councilor Boschman.
I'm present.
Councilor Kuchar.
Here.
Councilor Cragan.
Here.
Councilor Cruz.
Yep, here.
Councilor Di Natale.
Here.
Councilor Fleming.
Here.
Councilor Green.
Here.
Councilor Walsh.
Still here.
President Zarella.
Here.
9 members present.
There is no public forum. Do you have the warrant? No, I have it here somewhere.
This one, or the one that was amended?
No, the warrant. The warrant for the special meeting. Oh, okay, yeah.
This is your packet.
Yeah, so with the consent of council, I will waive the formal reading of the warrant. I would like to just, again, for formality's sake, remind everyone that Councillor Schultz is absent due to medical necessity. And then we have one item on the agenda this evening, which is the report of the Council as a Whole Committee.
Make a motion to approve the report of the Council as a Whole Committee.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the report of the Council as a Whole Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
In opposition? 3 in opposition. Passes 6-3.
Who's the third? Motion.
Yep.
Okay, Ms. Copeland.
All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Given that no one wants to object, we are adjourned.
I think.